So, I have apple juice this evening. Cheers. No. I don't have a drinking problem. It's apple juice, I swear. It's level 5 tier apple juice, I'll have you know. Like, cause I take my apple juices very seriously, Polly, right? So there are 5 tiers of apple juice, and this just so happens to be tier 5 apple juice, which is a brand called Martinelli's. It comes in a glass jar, typically, or a glass container. This is embarrassing. I'm not, I swear to God. I'm not kidding. I can get the bottle for you right now. Do I have to, like, take a pause from the stream, let you carry the stream for the next 15 minutes while I run to the Mariano's, grab a brand new freaking bottle of Martinelli's apple juice, and then unbottle it in, like, front of you and pour it into the glass? Oh, fuck. Oh, fuck. What? What? But desktop audio is on. What are you talking about, chat? Are you... We're having a boomerisms moment. It's fine. It's not a big deal.
See, Snoopy gets it right away. Are you sure it's apple juice? No, I'm not.
Properties, default. So why doesn't it want to work?
I don't know.
Desktop audio, just default, okay. Alright, talk now.
I am speaking now. Oh, and then people say it's working now.
Alright, it literally changed nothing. I went into the fucking OBS settings, I went to the properties, and I checked to make sure that the right thing was selected, which is default, which is what it's supposed to be, and I'm like, yes, okay, it is, alright, cool. And then I closed the app, and it worked all of a sudden, so I don't... Fuck me, I guess.
Quality. Okay, about chat. All you missed was me, exposing Weebo's alcoholism and the incredible levels of denial that she has constructed around it.
Holly seems to think that I'm not, in fact, drinking apple juice, that I'm rather actually drinking a scotch or, like, a bourbon or something. Like, have you ever seen a scotch this light in color?
Yes.
A bourbon this light in color?
Once you put that many ice cubes in it, sure. Especially when you buy the cheap stuff. Weebo. You can't even drink quality with your alcoholism. It's gone that far. You need to buy the big handle.
Okay, if it's not Martinelli's apple juice, what is it, Polly? Explain to me.
I'm willing to bet it's a giant handle of, like, Jim Beam.
What kind of Jim Beam?
The regular Jim Beam.
Just regular old Jim Beam?
Yeah, the white label. It's pretty light colored and pretty light flavored, too.
Polly, you know I'm a white girl, right? And that they make fruity flavored Jim Beam.
But yeah, they do, actually. Yeah,
there's they do.
Yeah. The sugar.
See,
I don't have a problem with the fruity flavored anything. It's the sweetness, the ridiculous levels of sweetness that they add to it that's the turn off for me.
See, that's why I go for the apple juice, because it's very sweet. It's like sugar in my mouth. It is actually sugar in my mouth.
But like I said, well, it's like you said that you're a white girl, and we can see you flushing in your face and chest. So therefore, liquor. Yeah, unless, of course, you're having an allergic reaction to the organic apple juice from Maynard's or whatever you said.
Mariano's. It's a Kroger-owned grocery chain in the Midwest. It's really nice. They have a sushi bar, and they have like a Starbucks, and like an Italian ice cream and a smoothie bar, and like all of the little things that you could want in a grocery. Oh, like they have like an artisanal cheese section too. It's so bougie. I love it.
Yeah, you fit right in there. They got wine and sushi and artisanal cheese. This is
It's great. That's why I shop there
you-
exclusively. I also have gas points, so
you're gonna be the best suburban mom ever.
I know, right? I'm so excited. I can't wait. Well, I can, but that's not the point.
No, I can't. Don't give it yet.
I can wait a little bit of time. Right? There can be time between now and when I have kids. It's fine. I'm good. But it would be fun. It would be nice.
So whatever. It's an interesting phenomenon. You got a certain song playing in the background, right? I've been there for the background music, and it's like, okay, let me turn this down to this level because it's a little bit too loud, too quiet, whatever.
Yeah.
And then you adjust it, and the next song comes on, and
it's
either
different.
yeah, like that is loud, and it sounds like somebody's really shitty music box, like like jewelry music box.
Yeah. To be fair, I didn't really listen to the whole 30 minutes of acoustic songs before I downloaded it. I just downloaded the first one that I could find that I liked the first song of.
Fair enough.
And
See, what happened, chat, was that I came in like to start on time, but realized that I needed a coffee, which I didn't have then, but have now. So, yay. And I said to Weebo, well, just what I told you. Hey, I realized, can we start like a little bit late because I got to go make coffee, and it's French press, so it takes a minute. And
it takes at least 8 minutes to steep the actual grounds before you actually press it.
Yeah. It takes how many minutes?
You should let it just kind of sit there for about 8 minutes once you boiled the water.
8?
Yeah.
Girl, check your shit. It's 4.
No, it's 8.
No, it's 4.
How?
I just about called you up by your real name, shit. I bit my tongue. I stopped. It's fine.
French press steep. How long does a French press steep?
It's called brewing.
No.
No.
Yes. Hate this game. Hate losing. All right. I'm gonna self-report here. I will allow Polly to bask in this for the moment.
There you go.
It's not very often that he gets to be right in public.
If your grind is more coarse, 5. But if you've got a French press, so quite coarse grind, 4 is plenty. Now, don't get me wrong, Weebo. I will self-incriminate here. I have totally walked away and let it brew for 15 minutes because I completely,
it doesn't
Space Cadet Polly, ready for
worse.
launch. I forgot.
It's just like a stronger coffee, I think.
It is. Yeah, it's not, especially if you're making it to brew iced coffee, you're planning on sticking it in the fridge. Dude, it makes no fucking difference. Some people would say that it would, but you know where it's going to make the most difference?
What?
Actually, is your roast level. If you've got a light, and you shouldn't, or medium, which is passable, roast, then it's going to make a bigger difference to your brew time, where you'll actually taste the difference. Dark roast, you're not gonna. It's not as big of a difference.
Yeah.
Because you've roasted away more of the flavor. The terroir.
Well, you've brewed off most of the caffeine. Roasted most of the caffeine. Why is my English failing me today?
Not most. It's 10 to 20% less than a medium
more
roast.
of the caffeine. The darker the roast, the less the caffeine.
Correct.
So if you have a green coffee bean, you have the most caffeine, and then if you have a dark roasted coffee, you have the least amount. And then if you have decaf, I'm sorry. If you have decaf, you have none. So that's the least amount of caffeine that you can have with a bean.
Actually, you don't have none. You have extremely little.
And I call myself a barista for all of half of the school year.
Oh, that's right. You were how the fuck don't you know these things?
To be fair, I worked restock
I didn't
more
care about my
than
job, and I was willing to walk off at any time, just so you know. Okay.
don't put words in my mouth. No, what happened was, yes, I got trained as a barista. Yes, I qualified, but I didn't actually work doing the barista-y things where like we're making all of the stuff as much as everyone else. What I did was, we were desperately in need of someone to dedicate themselves to the back room and organizing it, and I happen to be autistically OCD about making everything have a place and putting everything in that place. And so
Yeah.
I very much did what I do with like all my spreadsheets in the back room, and then I was on restock duty, and I was a freaking beast with that. So I was running back and forth between the front and the back, grabbing them resupply, and then taking inventory and seeing what we needed, what we didn't need, etc., etc. And then that basically kept me busy for an entire shift's worth of time. Like even during the
You know what?
hours.
I don't blame you at all. And maybe it was an OCD thing with you. I don't know. I know you're quite organized and stuff when it comes to spreadsheets. I don't know if that because okay, I'm not.
Mhm.
But at my third job at the gun store,
Mhm.
yeah, I have dedicated myself to doing to organizing everything, and I'm not that person. It's just so bad there, Weebo. It's like that. I want to take this on, that I feel satisfaction in like fixing their shit.
Yeah.
So shit can actually be found, and the inventory is so fucking off. And what spurned me to do this to begin with was me going and looking for something.
Right.
And it not being there. And everything's done by an Android-based inventory system.
Right.
Somebody like you programmed.
Like me. There is no one like me, Polly.
Somebody who attempts to reach your level. Someone like that. But fails, obviously.
Naturally.
You will go to one entire stock shelf, and I'm like, you know what? It's nuclear option. I am deleting everything that is in this section, and I am fucking rescanning fucking everything. What? These things don't have scannable stickers on the side, which they absolutely should. I'm gonna fucking assign them. I'm just gonna create a bin list and then send it off for someone else to fucking print. And then when you get it done, you let me know. I'll come fucking grab it. Really, you're gonna do that? And I'm like, as opposed to hanging out on the floor and answering the same dumbass questions from the same dumbass customers. Yes, because I've got an audiobook playing and I'm organizing guns and ammunition.
Yes, that was like the big impetus for me. It was not just the organizing, which I absolutely love. That is my niche. But it's also, I don't have to fuck with customers. And if I get shit wrong, no one sees it. And I could just be in my own little world for 8 hours, 4 hours to 8 hours, however long my shift was. And at the end, I clock out and I'm like, wow, I had no interaction with anybody. And I feel like I got my steps in. And I absolutely, I did a good job every single day.
No, the shifts where it's like, oh, there's 4 of you counter monkeys on. Well, you don't need a 5th. All right, well, I'm off to the lockup, the giant warehouse lockup upstairs, where everything that's like camping shit and whatnot, boots, outdoorsy type stuff. Obviously, the only guns and ammunition and things like expensive stuff like trail cameras and shit like that are in the gun lockup, but it's mostly just guns and ammunition. Yeah, I spend all day in there. And interestingly, get this, it's the only place in the warehouse that doesn't have cameras. You think it would be the first place in the warehouse that does have cameras, but
You would
no.
think, but no.
Yeah. So I've got my audiobook playing. I can vape. I'm organizing guns and ammo, where it's like I'll come across a Browning X-Bolt Mountaineer. What the hell is that? So I'm able to like slide the box off and open it up and put the bolt in it and cycle it a few times and fuck around with it. Oh, that's interesting. That's a different and put it away and then put it back. And like this is my day. Like imagine my joy.
Probably like the most content at a job ever, right?
Not really.
No.
It's a fun third job. Fun third job. When it's like that, it's a fun third job. But Reaper has had to listen to me. complain about the customers. Like he's a professional gunsmith, right? So he gets to be
Mm-hmm.
out back working on,
That.
glass bedding this particular barreled action to this stock or whatever. He's working on firearms,
Right.
that kind of thing. So he's not really dealing with customers until he's hearing their requests for his smithing duties, if that
Right.
makes sense, right?
Yeah.
It's like, okay, that's different. I'm a counter monkey, like, especially when he's one of the guys that hangs out at the counter and like, talks guns. And you have to have, there are forever people coming up and they have this saying that I've been introduced to only since working there. I have a guru. Have you ever heard anyone like use that phrasing? My friend who knows a lot about these things has told me that X. I have a guru. My guru told me that.
Oh no, like okay, so are they saying specifically the word guru, or
Yeah.
is it okay? Like a life coach?
I didn't think of that, but I should respond that way. I should be, wait a minute, is this guy also giving you like advice on your diet and shit? Because
Well, no,
it's what he told you is kind of wrong.
Life coaches aren't just giving you advice on diet. I think it's like all encompassing. They're telling you how to live your life and you're paying them to tell you what to do.
No, these are just friends of theirs that are filling them up with information.
Thank you for your patronage.
Ooh. I didn't have Streamlabs open. Sorry, continue.
Okay, you're doing stuff. Okay. Zombie Teddy. Polly is my guru. Don't say that. I'd be happy to give you gun advice, but it's going to be general, and I'm going to be asking the majority of the questions. You know what I mean? I hate leading people astray. And do you know how often I tell people I'm not on commission? It's usually where it starts. It's like, I'm not on commission. So when I'm recommending you this firearm over this firearm and it's more expensive, there's a fucking reason. Do you want to hear what it is? When I'm telling you that this is a quality firearm for its price, no manager told me to sell, like, we need to get rid of these, so push them. No.
Okay.
I've never been told that, not once. That the three owners of the store don't do that. But I think that there is, like, if you're going to wherever the fuck, Bass Pro or whatever, I think that they do that they do have a small commission that counter monkeys are paid and so on and so forth. And no,
I couldn't do that. I couldn't I couldn't work in sales just in general, but I couldn't do anything on commission because I can't, like, I don't believe in a product. I can't genuinely push it to somebody, even if they don't need it. I can't convince people. I don't feel like I am the kind of person that can convince someone to buy something or buy into something. I don't feel like I'm that convincing. Or maybe that's just like me lacking in confidence in that way. But I especially can't do it under pressure. Like my life depends on it. My job performance depends on it. My finances depends on me being able to sell you this thing. Like, no, fuck that. I don't want to. I just I'd rather be the person that oh my gosh, I love Yetis. Not sponsored, but they're a great product, and I am a Yeti whore for that brand.
Yeah, well, being a place that has, like, primarily it's a gun shop, but there's a bunch of outdoorsy stuff. Yep, we got the whole fucking Yeti setup, the whole display, and the Yeti guy, actually it's a woman. What do they call them? Sales representative or whatever. Yeah, they just go from place to place and be like, is there any more swag we can give you? Why isn't our display more prominent? Can you move it to the front of the store? The things that...
Can I ask you to ask your sales rep a question for Yeti?
I barely ever talk to her, but yes.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Can you ask them, or can you ask whoever, her?
Her.
Can you ask her why they've discontinued the offshore blue color, and if they can bring it back just for me, just because I want it, because I want all of the everything in offshore blue, because I love that color. It's gorgeous.
Is it is offshore blue like a light blue, like the color of your shirt?
No, that's the teal, I think. No, the offshore blue is the dark blue.
Okay.
Really dark blue. And it
so
is
darker than a royal blue?
It's like a purpley blue.
Okay.
I have the classic tumbler in that color, and I would really like everything else in that color. Because I'm weird. Before we get on, Anacasperian's Arrogance donated $3 to say, Weebo, thank you for being wonderful. For whatever reason, seeing you now has helped me make the night better. For your next video, can you cosplay as John Dutton? You have a Winchester 1894, don't you?
A lever action rifle.
Babe! Do we have a Winchester 1894? No. We do not. And I don't
Any
think my
lever
dad
action at all?
A bolt do we have a bolt action at all?
Lever action.
Lever action. No. We do not have a lever action. We do have 2 bolt actions. Who's John Dutton?
John Dutton is Kevin Costner, his character from Yellowstone. Have you ever seen my $40 donation, Weebo?
I think you showed it to me specifically.
It's pretty peak awesome.
It's the one with the Asians. They're trespassing on his land, and he does something like "This is America," and then he shoots up at the sky.
More or less, yeah.
Yeah, okay, like, it is that
it's
one.
It's wrong for one man to own all this land. You should share it with the people. And he just looks at them and then cocks his lever action, fires it off into the air, and they all run scared. He says, "This is America. We don't share land here."
Right. Yes, I have.
And then his Chad eyes glow, and the Alan Silvestri's theme from Captain America plays.
As it should.
Yes, it always should when something. That is not only the best MCU film. Go ahead, fight me. Captain America: The First Avenger. It is also the best score of all of the MCU films, with Infinity War running a close second, which is actually a really seriously impressive score. Long, too.
Hang on, I got ice in the boobs.
Okay.
Okay, we're good.
Great. Now that shirt's going to smell like booze.
It's just ice. I drank all of the apple juice.
Booze. Yeah, you almost said it. I drank all of the burnt apple juice.
I did not. You have not heard a bee in the slightest. I can bust out. Ooh. My bad. I didn't mean to. I'm sorry, Serpent21. I didn't mean to get rid of your comment. I meant to approve it, but I failed to do that. My bad. I can bust out the hat, the cowboy hat, and do a cosplay of John Dutton if you want. I can do that. Not an issue. I just need to find out where I hid it. Because I put all my hats away. Because I have a lot of freaking hats.
What's the problem?
I feel really bad because I hit a Serpent21's comment accidentally. Like, if you want to type it again, I'll approve it, Serpent. But I feel really bad because he commented. How did you know that was me? Because I can see you, dummy! Your name is assigned to your comment!
I feel real bad, dummy.
Like, it's like right next to it in the comments. I can see it. Anyway, sorry. I'm
going through the.
I'm freaking out for no reason.
Yeah, I've been reading the comments. Was trying to keep up with them, but then Weebo won't stop talking, so it's.
Sorry, is this not a conversation between yourself and myself?
Yeah, that's what Sinatra says. The people that are nervous about coming online, they need to remember it's not a conversation with hundreds of people or however many people, a few dozen people that are there. Mm-hmm. It's a conversation between 2 people with the rest of them eavesdropping.
Exactly.
That's his theory, and I'm like, considering that I don't feel the anxiety speaking to lots and lots of people, that doesn't really bother me. But in any case, WR Costin asked, like, way back, just going through a whole bunch of the things that were said in chat, are people aware that Polly did a Noir Bar yesterday, and those that did not tune in to it, are they planning to watch it after this? Yes. Yeah, we went for over 4 hours, just Sam and myself. It was long, it was rambly. I was really caffeinated and increasingly drunk as time went on, so I was fast talking nonsense the whole time.
Sounds like a good time.
Yeah, and I wasn't aware that because of my own error that Far was actually available, so she could have been there, but she wasn't because I dropped the ball, which sucks. And Weebo wasn't there because she's just not cool enough to come hang out, I guess. Yeah, that's what I said.
Actually, no, I went to sleep last night because I had a long day of upset tummy.
Oh.
Yeah, so I was not feeling great. So I went to bed
Oh,
early,
and then
I still
Marcin.
didn't sleep very well.
Marcin asks, what's bad at the gun store, and then how would you improve inventory? And I already answered that. Conveniently.
Yes, just by accident.
Yeah, by staying away from the goddamn counter because I don't want to talk to them. Right? And then there's Polly's my guru.
We hate people. They're
Yeah,
the worst.
You're being told that it's absolutely brewing, not steeping. Yes.
I know. I already tracked myself. I'm sorry. I've dishonored the name of barista.
The idea that Snoopy says with the Supreme Court backing the Second Amendment, there's no need for the black market, to which Marcin responded, I doubt that would happen simply because of every one of those justices. They are people too, and that they live in the D.C. area. And then they go back and forth on it a little bit. I would tend to disagree. They live in the D.C. area, but I mean, every one of the justices that decided in the D.C. v. Heller case in 2008, they all were justices who lived in the D.C. area, and 5 of the 9 agreed that Dick Heller, his Second Amendment rights were being imposed upon, were being denied because of the handgun ban in the District of Columbia that had been there since 1976, that it was in fact unconstitutional, which means that every such ban is unconstitutional. And good. So, I mean, the justices can have a certain opinion that is... it's interesting how you can pick the politics of a justice. It's not really how they... is this person an originalist? Do they believe in a dynamic reading of the law that changes over time? Actually, their ideology and worldview informs their calls more than the way they believe the law should be read. And yeah, I realize that that's not the way that they say it. Yeah, great, good for them. But I think that is what's going on. I mean, it's like a judge, trying to... like a criminal case, deciding, is this person actually guilty of this? Well, they decided before they ever sat down or heard the evidence. Who are you fucking kidding? Their reading of the law are nothing but talking points to justify the decision that they've already made. Yeah, it's a little cynical, but, what are you going to do?
Polydub. Black pilled.
Yeah, well, I've got a certain instrumental interpretation of the law where it's, yes, the law should be written so it is extremely narrowly construed, which is the argument is the way that it should be. You shouldn't have a dynamic, expansive interpretation of the law, because then anything can be fit in. Use that word dynamic, flexible. So whatever you want it to be. So if it doesn't say those words, then it doesn't say those words. I like a narrowly construed application of the law, because then there become less and less talking points available for shitty decisions that are outside of the intent of the law. So the purpose of the law is not to guide the judge's decision, because they're going to make whatever decision they want. The purpose of the law becomes to constrain judges and juries and lawyers from making arguments that are way the fuck out of bounds because the talking points don't exist for them. That's my call.
So, I guess where I would have a problem with that is if you constrain it too much, you run the risk of preventing the law, in this case, right, the Constitution, because we're talking about the Supreme Court, or we were initially. You run the risk of limiting yourself to the scope of just the current day. Whereas we know that the scope of the current day does not cover the scope of what comes in the future. Advancements, innovations, new ideas that may perhaps come up later on in the future. And so if you constrict yourself in that one section of the law. For instance, I guess with the Second Amendment, right? Say it had been more narrowly construed, to shall not be infringed unless XYZ something, I don't know, shall not be infringed unless, what would be a good narrowing of the law there? I can't come up with one right now.
Unless convicted of a violent felony, like one of the ways that the laws are currently regulated.
Right, unless person has committed a violent felony. And then somehow it came out 200 years from now that scientists could find the gene that enables people to break the law, and they could just, like, remove it in utero.
Okay, so you want the law. I realize this is your point, and you're just coming up with an example, but I
it's a
love
terrible
that you
example.
went. Yeah,
Right?
I do love that you went to dystopian eugenics for your example. Like,
Well, I couldn't think of anything like just super. No.
Holy shit, Weebo.
Well, no, but you understand, like.
Think what your Polish forebears would think.
Yeah, okay, all right. Probably not the best, definitely 100% not the best example. But the idea is you don't know what you don't know. And so how can you legislate narrowly about something that you don't know would be coming down the line?
Yeah, no, I do hear you, but the Then it's time for a new law. And if it is so obvious, then the system is set up, as the old Looney Tunes song went. It was intended to be amended, the Constitution. Like, yeah. I mean, look how many amendments there are. Okay, amend it. And if there's enough people that agree and enough states that are willing, 2/3 of them that are willing to ratify it, then there you go. All will abide.
I guess. But then we also get situations...
Because eventually we decided that women should vote. Now, look, obviously that's a bad idea, but there were enough people that agreed, so, we have to abide.
I'm going to ignore that for the time being. But then we get things like whichever amendment it was, I can't remember, that banned alcohol. And then the follow-up amendment that...
Unban it.
Unbanned it. Which is the fucking funniest thing ever to happen in the history of anything. I think personally that is just so chef's kiss. Love history.
We were talking about the Second Amendment. I bring it up with people, the prohibition, all the time, where it's like, look at the amount of damage that alcohol causes in society. And usually, I love this, not more often than not, we're drinking at the time. Like, we'll all have beer in front of us, and we'll be a bunch of poli-sci students, so eventually we're going to get around to talking about this stuff, put us in the same room and get us liquored. I'm like, well, think about that glass of stuff right in front of you, man, and get into it on that basis. How much more damage in society, how many more deaths does that cause than firearms? But you're willing to restrict. He goes, yeah, but this is restricted. I'm like, and so are firearms. You can't possess. And I completely agree with the idea. I remember yelling it out with my friend till the bartender came over and told us to quiet down, because we got like table punchingly angry over it.
Oh boy.
Well, because I said, you have the extreme position here, and he wouldn't accept that. He was saying that I'm a gun extremist, and I rejected it. I said, you're full of shit. You are the extremist, not me. You got a lot of fucking balls throwing that term at me. I am willing to meet you halfway. And he goes, where? I'm like, you think that nobody should own a firearm except for police and military. Now, my friend is Israeli, and I'm like, I love quoting Hitler to make him feel bad.
Famous last word.
Well, I did catch him on that. So nobody should own, in a civil society, nobody should own firearms except for police and military. And he goes, exactly. Adolf Hitler, 1934. You're in great company. Yeah, I'll go there. I'll do it, and did.
You are literally Hitler, sir.
And I said, now, because he was employing a bunch of like reach arguments saying you are personally responsible, like saying everybody who argues this way, the way that you are, is responsible for the deaths that could have been prevented had different regulations been instituted. And he goes like, oh, and I said, like, which deaths are you talking about? He was like, school shootings. And I said, so let me see if I get this straight. You are in your imagination coming to terms with a bunch of people that you would have been stopped if only the regulations you wanted had been instituted. So there's your first if. It could have been prevented. All right. It would have stopped this person from having firearms. All right. That's 2 ifs. Therefore, would have stopped them from committing violence. 3 ifs. But because none of those 3 ifs in a row, increasingly unlikely with each stage, happened, because they didn't happen, I'm now responsible in part for their deaths. And he's like, that's right. And I said, no, the causal connection responsibilities was broken a long time back, man. That's bullshit. So yeah, I was willing to make reach arguments. I said, you see how much sense that makes? So that you're now doing something in tandem with someone else, therefore you bear a responsibility for it? No. Not at all.
Yeah, that's not how that works. That's not how any of this works.
No, it's not. But the alcohol thing always at least slows people down, if only marginally. It's different. Guns were designed to kill. That's the argument that I've noticed that people reach for at that point. It's like, I believe in regulation of firearms. Like, let's take look at the list of people. I'm not a gun rights absolutist. I don't think that guns should be available to anyone, anywhere, at any time. This person in particular, and lots of other people I've argued with, believe that they should not be available to anyone, anywhere, at any time. Who has the extreme position? You're saying nobody. I'm saying only some people. Right. Well, who's denied? I think the people that are denied right now are a pretty good list. Right. People that have been dishonorably discharged from the military, people that have been judged by a court of reasonable competency as being a danger to themselves or others, people who have committed a violent felony. The list just, somebody who is currently under investigation for domestic violence. The list goes on.
It's just upholding that list. That's the problem.
Yeah.
And that lies with not the law, but the execution of the law.
Yes. Whereas the position in opposition to that is nobody at any time. So who's the fucking extremist? I'm saying, like, look, here's this group of people. Here's all these regulations. Here's all these things. Yeah, I go along with all of that. That's great. And you want to reform and restructure the way that these things are enforced? Okay. Yeah, let's have a conversation about that. Like this, I'd agree with that. No, I think that would unfairly impinge upon people who have done nothing wrong, et cetera, et cetera. I'm the one talking. You're the one saying, how can you come closer to my side of absolute abolition of firearm rights? That's how they judge how reasonable you are. The closer you get to their extreme one side. Fuck off. There's no middle ground.
That, right? If, like, say, hypothetically, in their world, things went into effect the way that they wanted them. So firearms were immediately restricted to just police officers and military, and that's it. No one else. And that was the only thing that changed. It wouldn't solve the issue because the execution of the law would still not be improved upon. I'm sure.
Yeah.
Right? So, like, what policies would go into effect that would prevent people from owning their already purchased firearms? Like, would you go and raid people's houses for their firearms? Is there a list that you're going off of where you can just, like, check to see if people have firearms? Like, how would you personally go about fulfilling that? Or not you personally, but, like, how would we, as a society, go about fulfilling that legal change? It would be a disaster. Horrible idea.
Yeah. I was just scrolling down.
What?
Everyone I don't like is either a Nazi or a groomer.
I literally made that video.
I know. That's what I'm saying. I was just scrolling down and came across because I have your channel up right now for the chat, right? So everything that's recommended is all like Weebo Jones from top to bottom, and I remember that video. That was a great title. And it's so true too. Roy, thank you for the $3. I got a copy of Quigley Down Under, which is an underrated Tom Selleck movie. It's actually a pretty good Western. Australian Western. It's really good.
Quickly down under.
Yeah. And hearing that you worked in a gun store, Polly, did you guys ever do you ever have guys asking for a Sharps rifle? Shiloh Rifle has them. You and Weebo should look right now. No, don't have anyone ever asking for a Sharps rifle. The only time I ever hear it coming up is like the cowboy action guys who will like bring up like asking for them. No, though, no. What everyone's asking for right now are the new Ruger made Marlins. That is the biggest. You guys got the Ruger made Marlins yet? No, because Marlin went under financially, Weebo, and
I'm sorry
yeah,
to
but
hear
they were, well, their parent company did and sold off and blah blah blah. Anyway, Ruger came into possession of Marlin and was like retooling, and we are going to produce new Marlin lever action rifles, which everybody loved, but the complaint and the opinion that everybody got about them was the quality control had completely gone to hell at Marlin. And if you had bought one in the past, whatever, 5, 10 years, depends on who you talk to, it was crap. It's a shitty lever action rifle.
Yeah.
It had to be like a 1990s or earlier Marlin to be worth your money.
Oof.
Yeah.
Oof.
And that saying spread so far and wide that it was actually like an impact on Marlin's sales because no one wanted to buy Marlin rifles anymore. But now they're being made by Ruger and everyone's all super excited again. When are they going to come out? And it's like, hey guys, if the distributors had them available, we'd have them.
So, can I get gun advice from you for like free? Like I don't have to buy a gun from you in order to get advice from you about purchasing firearms, right?
You don't have to buy a gun from me to get.
Right.
Yeah.
Because
No,
like
you don't.
work at a gun store and you're like what did you say?
Yeah, but the only reason you could have asked me
Counter-
before I worked at the gun store. It's not like they've taught me anything.
I know. I'm just like now that you have the fancy title of counter monkey.
Counter monkey. They really don't like that I say that. And I'm like, I stole that, well, lifted that from online, that guys that work at gaming stores, like that sell like D&D and shit like that, like hobby stores.
Yeah.
That's where I first heard like a reference to the people that work at the counter there. There's just a monkey to hang out at the counter and answer the obvious questions because they know, D&D and
Really?
Shadowrun and everything else that you can think of because it was of personal interest. They didn't get taught anything except for like whatever basic inventory system that store uses. And that's any store that hires people like that have previous knowledge and experience. Yeah, you're a counter monkey.
I've never heard that, and El Boyfriendo's been working at a gaming store for freaking ever. I think for the last 5 years. So
He needs to come to terms with the fact he's a counter monkey, unless he's a like.
Has anyone ever referred to you as a counter monkey while you're working at the store?
Oh, no.
Huh.
Why?
Does he know what a counter monkey is?
Do you know what a counter monkey is?
Someone who sits behind the counter all day?
Like at a game store and just answers questions.
Yeah, no, I actually don't spend that much time around the counter.
Like when you did work at the counter, though.
No, I mean,
Oh.
we're technically not allowed to be behind the counter when there's customers at the store.
Oh. Wait, is that why whenever I go into a store, I am perpetually just like
Accosted? Yeah.
accosted by attention or with attention from the person?
Yep.
Oh, I hate that. Okay, sorry.
What did he say? We're technically not allowed to leave the. What did he say?
He said they're technically not allowed to just stand behind the counter when a customer's in the store. And then that made me think of every single
Why?
time I've ever gone to a store and been followed around the store by a counter monkey.
So the idea being is that like, okay, so you walk into a hobby store, okay, and you're like walking up and down the aisles. The people behind the counter have like they are obligated by management to walk out there and come ask if they can help. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. I guess. Like, how can I help you? Are you looking for something? Can I help you?
Right.
What do you need? What are you looking for?
And,
Yeah,
and do you feel accosted?
yes. Like I went into Ulta Beauty a week ago, last weekend. And immediately I was um accosted, but like the lady came up to me and asked me if like I needed anything. And then this happened 2 more times while I'm browsing around looking for the things that I need. And I'm like, I don't need to interact with anybody. I just want to let me walk around the store a little bit and like shop with my eyeballs. It's like I went in
Yeah.
there for um uh foundation and acne spot dots, and then I came out with those two things, another like cream for one's face, a hairbrush, a brand new hairbrush, and then I think like a fifth thing. Setting spray. Because I was like, oh, maybe I need this. Maybe I need this. And it's such a girl thing to do. But I don't like to be bombarded with attention while I'm shopping. I'm just like, let me be a hermit in the store, okay? Go away. I'll talk
Yeah,
to you when I'm ready to go.
I when I see someone, like if I look up and I happen to see someone over there, I'll be like, "Hey, anything I can help you with?" And they're like, "No, I'm just looking." Cool. That's it. That's the entire interaction that I have with them, and that's when and that's me being nice. No one has ever told me to go talk to that customer, not once ever.
Weird.
I I got stuff to do,
Good.
which basically
I don't
is
want to talk
me.
to you while you're on your job.
I'm sitting on a Hornady stool, reading the internet and the interwebs.
Yeah.
That's what I do when I'm stuck at the, and it's you don't want to be behind the counter because it's boring anyway. If that makes sense, like I say, counter monkey, like because yeah, that's where behind the counter is where the gun display is. The gun displays writ large are.
Yeah.
So all the handguns and rifles and shotguns and everything else that are like that are under glass that are on display are all there in and around the counter. And the large stocks of ammunition are back there too. And it's like so people will come in and ask the same perpetual questions over and over again. What do you have for 22? What do you have for 9mm? What do you have for 7mm Remington Magnum? Because they're going out hunting. What do you have for 30-06? What do you have for Say, I'm looking for 139 grain Hornady SST Superformance in 7mm, and it's like, sorry, we're out of stock. It's like, you know that? I'm like, well, yeah,
Off the top of my head, yeah. I know
yeah.
that. What do
So
you
I mean,
want?
yeah. It's you were pretty specific, and I can tell you that we don't have anything in Superformance, and because it's hunting season, and people got here a long time before you, right? But the oh god damn it, Daniel Fulman.
So I should get a
He's,
grip.
he says work. Well,
Oh.
yeah. Well, he says working at a gun store sounds like a barrel of laughs.
He's just making
If you're
fun
not the
now.
butt of a joke, they hammer home. And I said, boom. And he's like, do I need to get a grip?
I can't make those puns anymore. A boyfriendo will yell at me. Or any puns for that matter.
It's a good question, Assassin the Grey. How will they go about confiscating privately owned firearms or privately owned anything? It's especially something that, if one employs it as such, can be used as a tool of violence. That's always my response when people say that. Yeah, but there's a difference between alcohol and guns. Okay, guns were specifically designed to kill. And I'm like, so they're tools to kill with. Yeah, and they're like, yeah, and I'm like, okay. First of all, no, they were tools to launch a projectile. And number two, by your conception, police are what? Murder tool
Wielders?
carrying goons with badges? Oh, that's different. It's always different when, yeah, you just made your argument way too broad in an attempt to occupy the peak of Moral Mountain. Well done. Those are murder tools. So police are murderers with badges? No, it's this different. It's only different because you made your argument way too wide. And now you're attempting to shrink it back down again. Well done, jackass. No, they literally are only projectile tools, and that's what makes them a deadly weapon when used in a homicide, and makes them a justified tool of defense when used in defense. It's almost like the circumstances matter.
They do, just not when it defeats their argument.
No, I have no idea how you would go about confiscating privately owned firearms, like
It wouldn't
en
end well,
masse.
I can tell you. Like, whatever
Yeah,
they
I can't.
attempted to
I,
do, buyback programs, sure, that might work. But we saw what happened with buyback programs. You could just print stupid, like, projectile things that look like guns, and those technically qualify as guns. And you could just sell them to the police department, and they'll take it. I think this happened in Chicago. The gun buyback program failed hysterically because, like, if it was just something that could shoot a projectile like a bullet, it was technically a gun,
hmm.
and they were buying back guns, but they weren't like guns, like in the traditional sense. So that fails right at the gate. But then you go and how do you get them from people who won't turn them in, right? Like, how do
Yeah.
you know? Two, how do you
I,
acquire
I,
them?
I will tell you this. How would you go about doing that? Yeah, there's details and there's examples in the Western world of how it's happened. Lots of them. And one could simply appeal to one of those historical, even recent examples of it occurring as to how they would go about doing it. But from that, I can tell you what would happen at an earlier stage where you know the confiscation is on its way, and
Mm-hmm.
that's national registration.
Right.
Because if you don't know who has what, how would you know whom from to confiscate it?
Right. There's that.
So it's why do you think American gun owners are so against a national gun registry?
Mm-hmm.
Because there hasn't been a single time in the entirety of Western liberal democracies that a national gun registry wasn't used for the purpose of confiscation, either immediately or eventually. That's why.
That's why I
Show me
voted for
one
the
example of where
Libertarian
it
in this
wasn't.
election
Uh,
because he
I
was
remember when
all for getting rid of the FOID.
he was all for what? I'm sorry.
Getting rid of the FOID is like a Midwestern firearms identification card. It
Oh,
just
yeah, that's
it
great.
it's like the precursor to actually getting a firearm. So you get the FOID, and that lets the government know that you can get a firearm, not that you have one. But still,
Right.
it's kind of on its way to being a registry for gun owners.
And people have argued that back to me. It's like Massachusetts has such a thing, and et cetera, right? You know,
Mm-hmm.
Illinois has its own thing, and
Yeah.
so on. And it's like, okay, but it's not national, is it? And it's like, well, close enough when all the states are. And it's like, no, I'm not going down this fucking path with you because you are edging closer to a national registry and you know it. You absolutely know that's where you're attempting to slippery slope to. We don't want a national registry. What we want is a legally necessary state registry in every state in the union that the feds have access to.
Mm-hmm.
That's a national registry by another name.
Right.
And I will tell you this, that some people in chat, I'm certain they already are aware of it. America already has a gun registry, a firearms item
Thank you
registry. It's
for
called the
your
NFA.
patronage.
If you've ever bought an NFA tax stamp, you just signed up for a registry that's one in everything but name.
Hmm.
So if you got a suppressor, if you got a SBR, a short-barreled rifle or shotgun, okay, what do you have to? It's like, no, it's not a registry. It's a system of taxation, and you just have to buy the $200 tax stamp. Okay, what do I have to do to get the $200 tax stamp? Everything that you would have to do for a registration, but it's totally not a registration. You have to send in your fingerprints and things from your chief law enforcement officer and a background check, and it has to be specifically serialized and licensed to you and only you, and it makes it non-transferable. You can't just like, sell it without notifying it us, and you can't locate it from state to state as you will, and it has to be located at your primary residence. That particular item, as it's serialized to, that's a registry. Who keeps this information? Is it my state? No, a federal agency does. The ATF, right, under the
Mm-hmm.
Department of Justice? Yes, them. Well, fuck me. And what happens when I violate this? Who comes after me? A federal law enforcement agency, and they're probably going to pass the duty along to a state and local law enforcement agency and then hand you off. That's a
Mm-hmm.
fucking registry. No, it's not. It's a system of taxation. Oh, go to hell.
So
So, yeah, we have a registry in America. We just don't call it one.
So where do you stand, knowing this, where do you stand on the concealed carry permits then?
In what regard?
Concealed carry permit, so like At least in my state.
Like
you have to go-
reciprocity, or
Would that not also constitute a registry to some degree? That's even more of a registry than firearms identification card, like the FOID. Wherein
to a degree it is.
it-
Like I could,
it kind of
I'm.
guarantees that you have a gun almost. Because like, why would you need a concealed carry unless you had something to conceal carry?
You could sell off all your handguns and still have a concealed carry permit, though.
Ooh, did my mic get quiet? You could.
Excuse me?
You're right. You could. Did my mic get
I see.
quiet?
I do not know state to state how that works for CCWs. Are there states, and this is like me legitimately asking because I simply do not know, are there states that require you to name the particular firearm? Like, let's say it's a whatever gun, I don't know, like a Ruger pistol that you're deciding to conceal carry. That particular Ruger pistol by serial number, it needs to be named as your concealed carry handgun. I don't know. In my state, it's not. It's you don't have to name particular firearms. If you did, I would be more
Well, I know you
inclined
can.
to see it as a registry, because
know-
if you can indeed sell off every single firearm you have and still possess a CCW, or have yet to ever acquired a firearm in your life but get a CCW permit, then no, it's not a registry.
Oh, I did get super quiet. I'm sorry. Fix the audio, I think, hopefully. So I know in my state, my dad, when he got his concealed carry, it was apparently.
Oh my God! Your dad has a concealed carry permit?
Yeah.
Fuck! I want to grow up to be Weebo's dad.
Well, he got it because he didn't always have it, so he got it, I think, last year with his girlfriend, soon to be wife. So.
Like, I mean, just. I'm gonna make a video, an ode to Weebo's dad. I just like the chattiest Chad to ever fucking walk the planet. It's like, I've done this and I've done that, and I raised this, strong, independent daughter, and I'm a paramedic, and I went with my girlfriend to get my CCW. I'm like, holy fuck, dude, just like turn it down a little bit. Oh
Yes.
my God.
Anyway.
It's like,
So you can qualify with whatever gun you want. It doesn't have to be the one that you're intending to conceal carry with, he told me. So, I think he did end up qualifying with the one he's concealed carrying with. But
okay.
that is what I understand to be true. So when I go get my concealed carry with El Boyfriendo, at whatever point we decide to do that, I will probably qualify with my Beretta because I'm a better shot with the Beretta. But my concealed carry will be the Kimber. Just because
I understand your point. Yeah, makes sense.
I want to
That makes
qualify. Because you do
Yeah.
have to do the qualification as well as the actual test itself. And then I think through that class, they also ended up getting some sort of like concealed carry lawyer insurance or whatever that they pay for monthly.
Mhm.
That just kind of like is an added layer of protection in case they get into a shootout.
Honestly, very, very good idea.
Mhm.
A very, 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 very good idea.
Oh, yeah.
So yeah, it's like living anywhere that's prone to floods and not having flood insurance. It's like flood insurance, depending on where you live, is actually relatively cheap. It's
Mhm.
so fucking worth it.
Right.
Because you will find out very quickly after your home floods that your home insurance policy does not cover floods
Mhm.
specifically.
'Cause
And it's like, oh,
technically, it's an act of God.
yeah,
Act of gods are not covered. So what the fuck is the point of the insurance then?
They try and exclude everything they can because they are primarily a business, which means they don't want to pay out
What
if
would
they
you
don't
do
have to.
if there was a child right in front of you?
Thank you, Norm McDowell, for the donation of $3 from earlier. In Walnut Creek, California, anyone who turns in his gun can get free therapy, and anyone who doesn't turn in his gun can get free anything. And then, just now, the next 6 minutes donated to say, I have a feeling that Weebo, if Weebo were a dude, she would have curly mustache and wear a trilby or bowler hat. And she would have a pinky ring, a really nice one, with a big W engraved on it, so everyone would know who they're dealing with. Of course, naturally, because when I backhand those bitches, I want the impression to stay. I want them to know it was me.
When I backhand them bitches, that's like that was enjoyable. That was good.
I know.
I have a question that I'd like to ask before we move on too much further.
Okay.
So you have laid down through your What did I called mine simply? Top 10 sexiest women in the MCU. What did you call your video? Two-parter?
My video was, or my 2-part video was, I think it was like top 10 hottest males of the comic book movieverse, part 1 and part 2, and then there was the rejects
movieverse,
versus
okay.
the winners.
Okay.
Yeah, because it wasn't just
So-
the MCU.
Oh, I'm well aware. It was a year and a half of movie viewing just to do the background research for the damn thing. It
I'm
was
anything. I am nothing if not thorough.
yes. So because you had the picture of with the Sharps rifle, you had Tom Selleck up from Quigley Down Under, and so I got to hear in detail what qualifies a man to be attractive. I even saw the spreadsheet with the accompanying numbers and categories and whatnot. Right. Where does Tom Selleck fall in that list? Is he like a studly piece of beef? Yeah. Because I mean, Tom Selleck's pretty much like, Mega Chad. You know that, right? Like in every. Yeah, I think I know. Yeah.
I love everything about Tom Selleck. Even like, so like.
Good. Yeah, because Tom Selleck's super cool, man.
I grew up watching him in like I saw him on Friends, I saw him on Magnum PI, I saw him in Blue Bloods, and across all bases, across all time, Tom Selleck is chef's kiss. What a man! What a specimen!
What a specimen!
That mustache.
So
he
you
wears
saw
a
him
suit
on-
really well too.
Yeah, he does. You of course, so you say you saw him in Friends, and he rocked the no mustache in
He
Friends.
did.
Now, I thought it was interesting that Tom Selleck could shave the mustache and still look like Selleck, like if that makes sense.
Well, he's got the eyebrows too. Like
That's true.
I think part of the look is not just okay, so there's like the top half of Tom Selleck, and then there's the bottom half of Tom Selleck's face. Both are very distinct. His eyebrows and his mustache, very, very distinct. He's got a very distinct face, too. And so you put all that together, it's Tom Selleck. You take one element of that away, still Tom Selleck, just not at max capacity.
I just sent you my favorite Tom Selleck meme.
Glock? Never heard of her.
You should throw that one up on screen.
Open link. In new tab. There, can you see it? Oh, wait, hang on. I
No.
shifted.
There. There's yeah, okay. I'm sorry, that's just that's pretty. He's driving a Ferrari in Hawaii while doing this. I mean, come on.
We love to see it. Peak.
See, it's something that I found interesting when you had sent me pictures of your target and then said this grouping was with my Beretta and the remainder are with my Kimber.
Yeah.
And that I didn't find terribly surprising because I could send you targets and of the same thing. Here is it, and as in your case, same caliber, so like 9mm with both, and with mine 45 with both. And here is my grouping with my Sig 227, and then here's my grouping with my 1911, and the 1911 grouping is a hell of a lot tighter, a hell of a lot tighter.
Oh yeah.
It's kind of gun and amount of trigger time put in. It so absolutely is. I am willing to bet that you would cut the tightest fucking targets with a 9mm 1911 because of the weight of the gun, the natural aimability, the crispness of the trigger inherent to a 1911. The list goes on.
Yeah.
But I'm not surprised that a larger gun like a Beretta, something that's got more real estate for you to quote purchase your grip on, I don't find that surprising that you're able to aim it better than you would
I am drunk.
something
So
smaller and
drunk, I
compactor.
cannot get up.
Yeah. You want to get that super
I do.
Streamlabs?
It does kind of look like she's shot all over the place, but she's shooting, if you look at the grouping, low and to the left with her Kimber, and then when aiming for the neck, that's with her Beretta.
Yeah.
And it's like,
And I could walk the chat through that too, because there's a little bit more to it. But yeah, read your stream legend. We can talk about it.
oh, all right. The next 6 minutes, thank you for the $2.42. I have a feeling that if Polly were a chick, he would walk into a seedy gin joint, garbed in a choice mink. He'd sit down in a booth in the back of the bar with boobs ample while the sax player sets the mood. Why don't you say Weebo would do this? Why would you say I would do this? That's weird, man. I would like to walk into a seedy gin joint and see a woman doing this. I have no idea what I would do as a woman, not being. Do you know what you would do as a man, Weebo?
Repeat the question.
Do you know what you would do as a man?
No, I meant like as a man.
What you would do in a bar? How you would dress? Where you would sit?
Where I would sit.
The answer is no. You have no idea because you're not a man, so you don't know what you would do. You'd have to be a man first, and then you would know.
No, but I can like speculate as to what I would do.
That's a woman speculating on what a man would do, not a man choosing what he would do.
Right. Okay, but I think they're asking, could you speculate as to what you would imagine yourself doing as a woman when you walk into a bar?
See, but if you want that from me, I wouldn't do a slinky mink with massive boobage.
Okay.
No, I wouldn't. If I were a woman speculating, no, I wouldn't do that.
Okay.
Because it would attract scum.
Right.
So no, I wouldn't do that.
Okay, so what would you do?
Here comes my bias, right?
Okay.
I'm trying to say what I would find attractive, and this is what I would do. You see what I mean? It's a failure from the beginning. I would aim for the demure thing. That if you want to grab my attention, you're gonna have to have game. Like it shouldn't be like having all my assets on display, and that's what brings you in. Like at that point, it's just. I would think, yeah, any one of these guys is gonna. Gee, what do they want to talk to me for? Right?
Right. Gee,
Because you have put all your assets on full fucking display. That's what they want to talk to you for. They have no idea what you like, what you don't like, what you are like, conversationally, emotionally, individually. The list goes on and on and on. So how would I dress? I'm not saying dress down. I would still dress like a woman, but would I be feeling strong drafts in the chesticle region? No, probably not likely. That's my call.
Okay.
Polly's $20 donation is his type. Naked Ava Green in a bed? Yeah, well, see, but at that point,
Yeah, but that's not demure.
Yeah, it isn't demure, but that's not at a bar. Ava Green wasn't sitting naked on top of the bar at that point.
Fair enough.
There's nothing wrong with being naked in bed when your man comes home.
Yes, there is nothing wrong with that.
See what I'm saying? There's not a damn thing wrong with it.
It's not a damn thing wrong. I think I would wear a hat. Because hats are mysterious.
Yeah.
I mean, I wear more than a hat.
And ladies can get away with wearing hats indoors in a way that a gentleman cannot.
That guy can wear a hat indoors.
Not if they're a gentleman, they don't.
I'll tell that to a little boyfriendo who wears his hat everywhere he goes.
You can go ahead and tell him and say that well, we're talking about like a 1942 time period. Remember, I'm like perma-stuck in my mentality about such things.
That's fair. And I don't think... Did ball caps exist in 1940?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, but it was pretty much baseball players who wore them.
Right, okay. Fair enough.
Can we agree that that is the best regular everyday hat design of all time, the baseball hat?
It really
baseball
is.
cap. I mean, I remember a professor that I had in undergrad that hated baseball caps so much because all the students wore one, and he was an older gentleman, and he had his tenure since the 70s, and he had a particular view of the world and the way things acted, and a whole bunch of males and females would wear their baseball caps inside in his class and not take them off, and it drove him crazy, right? Because he had that view, and it's like, boys and girls, my God. But he was, well, he sounds like a stuffed shirt. He was also a jokester. He had one thing on his door. You know, professors will like paste like jokes and comics and or whatever the fuck political cartoons on their door. He had one thing on his door, and it was a picture of a guy at a baseball game in the stands who had a baseball hat on backwards and was holding his hand up to his forehead as a sun visor to look at something. Okay, that's funny.
That is pretty funny.
Throw your fucking hat around, jackass. What do you think that bill is
That's
for?
the whole point.
Yeah.
What are you doing? Okay, all right.
Ollie rode a T-Rex to school. No, I'm saying this is him. I just...
No, not quite a T-Rex. More like a locomotive.
So you say you're going to walk us through this. I want to hear this.
Okay, so, can you see my mouse at all?
Yep. I
Okay.
can.
So, this grouping right here is predominantly the Kimber, right? And when I was shooting with the Kimber, I was actually aiming at the X over here in the middle, the red X.
Yeah.
And the difference between the shot grouping right here and the shot grouping up here is, one, yes, the firearm, two, where I was shooting, or where I was aiming for specifically. But the other thing that's different between these groupings is when I was shooting with the Kimber, I was actually like pulling the trigger, like gripping the firearm. My life depended on it.
Okay.
So I was gripping too hard, is what I'm saying. I was pulling
Alright.
the trigger with a little bit too much vigor, and so it was causing the gun, when I shot, to veer like down into the left more than if I had just, pulled it with less enthusiasm. And so when I moved to the Beretta, I decided that, one, I was going to aim for like the center of the head right here, and then I was going to ease up on my grip. And I noticed that my aim significantly improved, because you can see the grouping is a lot tighter here. So I think it was a combination of the gun and the grip specifically. I don't think where I was aiming really had much to do with it, so much as it was how I was gripping the gun and which gun I was using. Because definitely the Beretta, if you looked at the Beretta, or you know what the Beretta, it's got a longer barrel, and it's a heavier gun.
Yep.
And it's bigger for my hand, whereas the Camber is like smaller, more compact, tinier barrel length, and like even for in my hand, it's a little tiny, to some degree. So it definitely has to do with the firearm, but I also think grip had a lot to do with it. So when I go back to the range next month, November, because I'm joining a girls' gun club, Polly, with my cousins, my cousin-in-law. She actually was the one that invited me, so we're going together. And I have my range bag halfway packed, and I'm working on it, so like I'm getting like super into the shooting shenanigans. So when I go back, I'm gonna shoot both again with the relaxed grip, and I'm gonna use two separate targets so we can better identify how things are looking. So it'll be two targets.
What range was this at? Like, what distance, I mean?
I think this was 5 yards.
5 yards, okay.
Yeah. Yeah, typically it was 5 yards. I kept it consistent with the distance across the board.
Consistence with the distance. How else are you supposed to know if you're improving or not?
Exactly.
I will tell you this.
Yeah.
There was... Excuse me.
Gesundheit.
I am... for a cough?
Yes.
Oh.
That's
Must be a
what
Polish
said.
thing.
I
Anyway.
said that in German. That was...
Yeah, what? How ironic. It's like, yeah, you did. Wow.
It must be a Polish thing.
Well,
Excuse
yeah.
me.
To adopt German stuff. Not willingly.
My grandfather was German. My grandmother was Polish. What can I say?
Wow. That explains a lot of your internal discord, doesn't it?
Do I have internal discord?
What's that,
It explains why my grandparents were the way that they were. I love myself. What are you talking about? I have the best disposition ever.
So hold on, which one was German? Your grandmother?
My grandfather.
Your grandfather was German.
Yeah, but they came over like with the Mayflower. So
I see.
like
Was your grandfather like came over with the Mayflower in the 1930s? Okay, makes sense.
no. Like they've
Did
been
this
here
boat have
for
a
a
flux
while.
capacitor?
No. So like my grandfather's family, the German part, at least that's
I see. All right, I'm up
right.
to date. Okay.
They came over like 200 years ago, whereas my grandmother came over, or her family came over in the 1920s.
So when I'm curious if like in like the early 1940s, if your grandfather suddenly started deciding that like he needs more Lebensraum and your grandmother needs to like occupy less of the house, and that he will be deciding where we need to Germanize this home. We need living space.
She got an allowance of $25 a week, and and she never got to see the rest of her paycheck, which is probably for the best because they ended up doing really well at the end of the life, to the point like during retirement they could travel the world together. So I mean, hey, misogyny, maybe there's something to that.
It's called domestic planning. Now give me your paycheck, oh boyfriendo. Here's what you are allowed for this week.
Here's your allowance.
You're attempting to enact financial control. It's
No.
manipulative.
No.
It's
It's
domestic
budgeting.
planning. Yeah, I'll do the thinking here. Just play your video games. It's fine.
Exactly. I'm the financial guru now.
Look at me. Look at me. I am the captain now. She's crying. Remove the mascara. So being a big fan of Sig Sauer pistols.
Yeah.
I'm of course aware of the frames being made of aluminium, and the slides being made of stainless steel, like my desk gun right here, for example.
Your desk gun.
Yeah. You don't have a desk gun?
I could. The Beretta is just kind of chilling there in my wardrobe.
We went through this when we were doing our secret project already.
Right, you
didn't-
shamed me for it on, was it Thursday? Yeah, it was Thursday.
Yeah, Thursday.
But I wasn't at my desk on Thursday. I was in the living
Oh, that's
room.
right. Yeah, no, that's true. That's true.
Should I have a living room gun as well?
Well, I have a
Just
lodatorium gun, a desk gun for my computer room, a bathroom gun, a kitchen gun. So the answer is yeah.
you have a bath. Wait, where's? Can I ask where the bathroom gun is?
It's in one of the drawers.
Oh, okay.
Except when I'm having a shower, and then it comes in the shower in a Ziploc bag.
Wait, you're shitting me, right?
Would you want to get caught unawares while you're naked and soaked? Chat, don't start thinking about me naked and soaked.
You just opened it up.
Just leave it alone, chat.
I can't.
You should have a fridge gun.
Would that not compromise something?
What? No. If you're,
That, like, cold.
I would argue that I would.
Shrinks metal? Question mark.
You're not dipping it in liquid nitrogen. It's a fucking fridge. I would argue personally.
My fridge
Yeah,
freezes
actually, I
things
would.
sometimes.
If you take whatever your choice of handgun is and you put it in your fridge overnight, If you pull it out and it
Mhm.
can't function as normal, you need a new gun.
Oh, okay. The
In
French
my
test
opinion.
for the gun,
Yeah,
guys.
because that is super mild rigor to apply a gun to. Slightly above freezing, or well, moderately above freezing temperatures, it can't handle. It'll start malfunctioning. Oh, something's very fucking wrong with that gun, in my opinion.
Do I need a desk gun if El Boyfriendo has a desk gun and he sits right there?
I would want my own desk gun. Assassin of the Grey says it'll turn your oil to sludge, and depending on, well, I mean, I use
That's
gun
what I
oil.
mean. Yes, thank you, Assassin of the Grey, for supplying me with my argument.
I use gun oil and white lithium grease, like rail grease on the rails, and it won't affect white lithium grease in the slightest either. High nor low temperatures will, and that's exactly why you want to use it for those things.
Yeah.
Oil for the parts that need oil, grease for the parts that need grease, and the rails should have grease on them. It will turn it into sludge. It's still a very thin gun oil
Mhm.
at like I said, 10 degrees above freezing should not be sludge. If it is, you need a new fucking gun oil. Holy shit.
What even
Is a gun? Streets of mail. Right.
It's a
There's the
boomstick.
question. But so anyway, I get to admit my ignorance. Owning a Beretta 96 for as long as I didn't realize that the frame was made out of aluminum too. Duh. I thought the whole time it was an all steel gun.
I wouldn't know anything about that. I just
So
I just had
so
the
whenever,
damn thing.
my point being is that whenever you do pick up a 1911 in 9mm, which you totally should,
Yeah.
and it has a steel frame and a steel slide. I mean, talk about recoil management. Holy shit.
Mhm. It definitely, when I shoot the Beretta, I feel like I have less of a reaction on the recoil than I do with the Kimber. The Kimber is kind of a little bit scarier to shoot.
Short barrel, light as hell. I'm sure it's pretty fucking snappy.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And then there is the simple fact that I need to work on my reaction, because I have atrocious what is it called?
You anticipate?
Yes, I have atrocious anticipation. Fuck.
Well, you're shooting low and to the left. Yeah.
Yeah.
And the two things one, you're anticipating. That's why it's going low. To the
Mhm.
left, you have crappy trigger control, which is not a judgment. It took me years, literally, of shooting to get out of that, to work
Yeah.
my way out of that. It took a lot of dry fire training to work my way out of that. A
Yeah.
hell of a lot.
That's one thing that I need
So
to
there-
get is
You are a better
big
shot than
guns.
I am at your level of shooting, than I was at your level of shooting. Definitely. My first shots fired, remember I told you? I fired 10 rounds out of a magazine. It was 9mm. The paper's completely clean. There wasn't a single bullet hole in the paper. Not one. Every single shot went that fucking low.
Oh, but like, it's not like I'm just starting to shoot. Like, Dad used to take us to the dump once a summer.
The dump.
I'm not even kidding. It was.
I love it. I love it.
It was just like some middle of nowhere sand pit where people had just ditched their garbage and shot, apparently, for years and years, because there's all this garbage and it's all riddled with bullet holes. So we just bring cans with us and the guns and all the bullets, and we'd just set up shop and we'd shoot for a couple hours and we'd go home. But like, I must have been single digits aged, older than 6, younger than 10 when I first went to the range with my dad, and he started me off on his little tiny Walther PPK and his 22 rifle, and I had fun with those. It was a good time, not gonna lie. And then he graduated me to the Taurus and the Ruger, and I can't remember which one is the 45, but one of them's a 45. So it's not like baby's first gun, baby's first range shooting. I've been at this for a while, so I know how to shoot, to aim the gun. It's just I don't know how to manage my anticipation, because that was never something we just focused on. It was mostly just, here, let's get the kids acclimated with firearms at a young age so that they're not terrified of them when they get older. And then I bought myself my first gun when I graduated from college. So.
Oh, I'm sending you 2 pictures.
Yeah.
I was at the range and Platy said, "What are you shooting?" And I said, "45, of course." And I was shooting with my 1911 because at the time I was getting ready for the new USPSA season, and so it was like time to
Not
like
bad.
dust off the old skill set.
Mhm.
And I said, "So you're probably screwing up," or something to that effect. And whatever, I mean, and that's at 20 yards. And so you're probably screwing up. And I said that picture to Platy, and I said, "Screwing up, fuck you." And then Platy wrote back, "What is that, at 3 yards?" And I sent the next picture after I fired several more magazines, and I said, 20, fuck you.
Wait a second. Is that how long your fingernail is?
At that time it was. Is that what you focused in on? How long my fingernail is?
Do you
Would you like it?
manicure?
Would you like to see how clipped my fingernails are now? They're
Are
quite
they,
small.
like-
They're quite short.
Are they like tiny
normal.
little nubs?
Well, yeah. But Platy deserved that fucking bird flip.
Yeah.
Like, what's that, at 3 yards? Fuck you, it's at 20, and that's it, with a bunch more magazines fired through it. Just one giant ragged hole in the center of the target. But, Weebo, my point being, yes, you too can shoot like that with a 45 with full power loads. It's just repetition.
Well,
Just repetition.
At that point, I feel like you should just get a new target, because how do you even know that you're shooting and hitting your mark? Because
No new holes. That's it's I know it sounds funny, but it's a great feeling. It's like that hole is just not getting any bigger. Fuck, I rock. You know, there's a piano player's hands. Yeah, I've heard that from. It's like, wow, you got really long fingers, mostly from girls, and they really liked it for some reason.
you.
One, yeah, I get the joke. Two, that's actually true.
You stopped
Anyway.
right there. Wait, no, but like, do you manicure your nails? I'm just curious. I need to know.
Define manicure.
Like, do you personally file them into a shape?
Yes. Yeah, I do.
Okay. And the chosen
I-
shape is the oval?
Yes, I clipped my nails, which I did just 2 days ago, and then file them again. And one of my friends, she is on me. She's really upset about it, actually, how quickly my fingernails grow.
Mhm.
Because she was like, I break a nail, and it takes forever for it to grow back such that I'm able to file out and clip out the breakage.
Wait,
if
does
you know
she
what
have
I
fake
mean.
nails?
No, not at all. She just wants them. What's it called? A French manicure, where it's just slightly longer than the tip of your, like, off the. I don't
Now,
know
French-
what the language is.
French manicure is like when you have the little white edge, but when it's just above where the edge of your fingertip is. I don't remember what that's called, but I like that.
Is it in the
personally.
nail bed? Isn't that what that's called?
Oh no, the nail bed is all the way it's like all the way down here. That's the
Oh.
nail bed. That's like where the nail is formed and where it emerges from. You want it. She wants it like just north of the fingertip, right? So like kind of where your nail is in this picture.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that is.
Except
But yes, I
square.
do. And the reason why is that, like, after clipping my nails, I hate the feeling of. It takes like a few days for it to wear off to the point where it just feels rounded and smooth, and I want that immediately.
Yeah,
I
I
want
feel that.
feeling immediately. So that's why I'm filing. So yeah, I clip my nails and then file them, because you're gonna get, if you use nail clippers, you're gonna get sharp points
Right.
and then square edges, and I don't want that. So it's breaking the edge, you would call it, in filing metal.
Yeah.
Right.
Just curious, because that definitely looks like it's been manicured. I can tell. As a
As
woman.
opposed to, it's like, that's your preferred shape, the oval shape. That's an interesting question. I have never stopped to think about the shape. That's the shape of whatever you call the edge of your nail bed, whatever that's referred to.
Nail
Uh,
tip.
Nail tip.
So like
That's the shape of the the skin there. So that's the shape I clip and file to. I've never stopped to think about it other than that.
Yeah. So you do more of like a rounded oval. Me personally, I'm a fan of either the square or the squarely rounded.
I could drag this over to my bigger screen to see this. And full screen. So which one? The red one? Is the one you're saying?
Either the rounded or the oval.
Okay.
It looks more like the oval in terms of length, but it looks more like the rounded in terms of shape.
Well, like I said, my length, that's just the shape, yes, but that's just the shape after
It's grown out.
Less than a week, 5-6 days. It grows from being clipped to that long.
Yeah.
And that really makes her angry. And she's like, "Does your hair grow quickly too?" I'm like, "Oh, absolutely it does." She goes, "I'm so fucking jealous. I get my hair trimmed and I'm good for so long, but then I'm committed to that, if you know what I mean, that hair length for so long."
Probably expedite the process of hair and nail growth by supplementing collagen. It's typically what women would supplement in order to get faster growth.
What's a weeby finger?
I don't know. A weeby finger.
I have to look up a weeby. It's probably some horrific creature from fiction or something. Watch. But
yeah. I'm not surprised that you shape your nails. I'm actually impressed and I'm proud of you because I feel like more men should do that. Instead of biting their nails to the nubs.
Oh God. I know dudes that do that don't clip their nails. They bite their nails. And it's like, my nails grow too fast to do that. I'd be forever biting them. And I've never been a nail biter. I display my anxiety in many other myriad ways.
Right. Different type of oral fixation.
Yes. Oh yeah, I'm a smoker, so I don't need to bite my nails.
Right. Exactly.
And a vapor. So have I been sitting here vaping? And the other thing is drinking.
Yeah.
Not liquor, chat, get your head out of the gutter. But yes, that.
Water.
Yeah.
Hydration, H2O.
Yeah. Water or iced tea or coffee or yeah, I am always raising either a cigarette or a vape or a glass or a mug to my mouth. So yeah, definite oral fixation for anxiety. But and then when none of those things, sunflower seeds or gum or yeah, I've never stopped to think about it until now. Holy shit, Weebo, I have an oral fixation.
I knew that. I'm glad that I could help you learn something about yourself this day.
I was aware of that. How? On what basis? I'm curious. Just having watched me on video?
You always have something to drink.
Right.
And you are a smoker. And most smokers have an oral fixation.
Yeah.
So.
Huh.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Clock that immediately. Plus, I think you have told me about the sunflower seeds, which is just another side. I have never come across, personally, someone that I know who does sunflower seeds. I've never come across a person who enjoys sunflower seeds that didn't also smoke.
Interesting. I had never stopped to think about that until right now, but I can easily see that.
Mm-hmm.
And why are sunflower seeds so intimately associated with baseball? Because they're all fucking smokers, but when they couldn't smoke anymore, they just sat there and ate sunflower seeds or chewed tobacco. Yep. I have never thought about that until right now. Yeah, now it makes a lot of sense. Holy shit. Why do pitchers on the pitcher's mound have a back pocket full of sunflower seeds? Because they can't be sitting there on the mound smoking.
Yep.
Fuck. Holy shit, Weebo. This is
I'm the mentalist.
You're full of fresh thoughts tonight. You asked before we went live, Weebo wasn't off on I should probably back off that before I repeat myself. Weebo's asking what is Thanksgiving music? Because there's Halloween music, and I'm like, right.
Mm-hmm.
And she goes, then it kind of goes into the autumn fall season. And do we just like skip right over from Halloween music to Christmas music? Like, is there anything in
Yeah,
between?
we do.
And then without thinking about it, I just kind of was a son of a bitch and said, wow, this isn't like your usual questions, Weebo. This is actually good. Let me think about this. Well, hold on. She says, I don't. Let's not move on. I want to
I
touch
want
on
to
it.
tackle that for a little bit.
But it's a good question. What is autumn music? And whilst I was off making coffee, and I thought about that because I was thinking about that because it was actually was a good question. What the fuck would qualify as Thanksgiving music? There's a bunch of. I love my ambiance channels.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And there's a bunch of fall ones where there's like leaves falling, and like you can imagine what the background looks like. The music they do have music that's playing, and I'm like, that would be it. That would be the what qualifies as fall music. It's a lot of, interestingly, when I came back, you're playing acoustic guitar. Yeah, that's a lot of what's playing on them.
That's what I settled on because it felt right, you know.
Yeah.
Like it just made sense, so I went with
Yeah.
my gut, and my gut's not usually wrong. I just need to listen to it more often and not second guess myself. You ever do that?
Yes.
Second guess yourself. And then you're like,
yeah.
fuck, I was right the first time.
Yeah. Have you ever heard the statistical analysis of multiple choice questions for college students? That here is that your first guess is more likely to be right, so do not change your guess if you don't know. Because it's
I
like, are
have
you
heard that.
guaranteed to be right? No, but statistically you are.
Right. Why is that? Is it just because of the
It's a good question.
the primacy effect? Like, you guess what you think might be the right answer because on some level, maybe internally, you know that it's the closest answer, or it might just be the answer, and you don't maybe know it for certain, but something in your gut tells you that it is because you've come across it before. It's just
Yeah,
too far beyond your grasp.
the thing I latched onto is something a professor told me in undergrad years back, that if you are second guessing it and you're about to erase it, is that unless you have noticed something critical in the question that you failed to notice, and that's why you're changing it, you are probably overthinking it. And that's what makes your first guess more likely to be correct, because that's what you arrived at, subject to not overthinking it.
Yeah.
And therefore because in my opinion, that's what has people, that's what accounts for the statistical likelihood of your first guess being correct. And then that's when somebody asks, well, how do you know when, because in that statistical likelihood, there's some people that are correct with their re-guess, their second guess.
Yeah.
So what accounts for that? If you're going with the statistical likelihood, only if you have noticed something that which one of the following is not, and you jumped over that negation when you read it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Unless there's something in the question critical that you missed that you just now noticed. Oh, fuck. No, A isn't right. Jesus Christ. It's obviously C because I misread the question or whatever the hell. That's the only time you should change your answer. And I'm like, huh. Okay. Yeah, I bought it. It sounded persuasive enough of an explanation.
Yeah, makes sense.
You don't overthink it until you second guess.
Yeah. Did you ever hear about statistically C is the most so in terms of multiple choice, C is the most popular answer for questions.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And then I feel like someone I heard this in high school when we were studying for our ACTs, or standardized tests. And so C was like the de facto, if you had no fucking clue and no ounce of a clue, just default to C because chances are you'll get it right. More often than not, if you're guessing.
Right.
C was like the most correct answer out of all of them. And then maybe like 2 years later, I heard something different in college where it was B that was the correct, the new most correct answer, because apparently it was such a thing that professors and teachers had like started to pick up on that tendency. They're like, oh well, we can't continue to use C as the correct answer, so we'll just opt for B instead. And I'm like, what? What? Why are you putting that much thought into it? Why can't you just let us have this? Come on, just one.
I have when I came up with a bank of questions, the infamous question bank that TAs have and professors have. Yeah, you come up with way more questions than you need to, and the idea of having a bank is that you can then withdraw from it, like 200 question bank and they say a 200 question bank for 30 questions. And it is so randomized that nobody semester to semester is going to be able to pass their test off to somebody else. And that person is going to have a reasonable chance at passing, because 30 withdrawn from 200 statistically ends up being, it's so unlikely that. And I'm like, okay, yeah, did I have 200 questions the first time I had a multiple choice? No. Do you know how hard it is to come up with multiple choice questions? Like, your first few, yeah, it's easy. After that, wow, it is rough. That's why I asked professors for theirs. Can I withdraw some questions from your question bank? And then change the wording and rearranged it. Always easier to do it. And they're like, yeah, sure. How many do you need? And I was like 50? Because I want a bank. I want a bank to withdraw from, and I'm going to alter the wording. And he's like, yeah, you absolutely should, and alter which one is the correct answer too. Like, seriously, alter which one's the correct answer. I'm like, no, I was going to do that. So how did I decide, Weebo? Which between and they were fourfold. There's A, B, C, D. Yeah.
How did you decide?
Yeah. Which was the correct answer?
Random number generator?
I did. I actually did. I went online to a random number generator, and it absolutely assigned it truly randomly, assuming that their algorithm was actually random. Looking at you, programmer.
It's random number assignment generators. Easiest fucking shit in the book, let me tell you.
So if they're truly random, yeah, I just went with whatever it spat out. There were like 4 A's in a row and then 2 D's, and it's like, yeah, it looks like there's a pattern. No, it's just imagine a 4-sided die. You know, which I think is one of the coolest die designs, when they're the little pyramids.
Yeah.
They're whatever the bottom number is. I mean, it's such a clever way of doing dice.
It is.
Anyway, yeah. So they think about, you know, how many times you can, if you keep rolling that die, yeah, you're going to get like 2, 2, 2 in a row, and yeah, it absolutely happens. And yep, random number generator to which one is correct. Every semester it changed. That was the easiest part. It's like, let me just remove myself from this here because I don't want to do this. Let me just, is there a multiple test random number generator? Oh my God, the internet's fucking full of them. And it was pretty cool. So Weebo,
that makes sense to me.
You do D&D stuff and shit, right?
Yeah.
I over in Chaos Eve server, there are a bunch of like dice nerds over there. And so they're sharing all these dice, and I'm not gonna lie, like, I'm not a D&D person, and I have no use for like a D20 or whatever. But holy fuck, are some of those dice cool?
I know, right?
I only have use for gaming purposes for D6s.
Yeah.
Because Black Powder just uses a gang of D6s. So does Warhammer 40k. Like, you're just the more D6s you have, the better, because you're just selecting off of them. And then the only dice game other than that I play is CeeLo, that requires just 3 D6s. So the mixture of dice aren't really of use to me, but holy fuck, are they slick.
They're pretty cool. I'm a big fan of my set. They're like a green jade color.
Nice.
Yeah.
The only RPGs that I've ever played that required dice were percentile. So 2 D10s. That's it.
Would you ever be interested in doing Dungeons and Dragons? Or something?
People have asked me that, and it's like, the only answer I can supply is maybe. I don't know. I guess I've certainly heard a lot of them having a lot of fun over there with character generation and whatnot.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie, I think I would go pretty boring, because I would create the character that I would want to be in that fantasy setting, and they're like, moron, that's the idea. Oh.
Yeah, that's literally the idea.
Oh, I don't know how to like min-max the system properly to create a character that just kicks ass.
Well, like the dungeon master, whoever would be your dungeon master would kind of like keep you in check to make sure you're not stupidly overpowered when you're creating your character. So you'd come up with an idea, you'd figure out like what class of creature, whatever you'd want to be, and then you'd roll for specific traits that you wanted, or just in general the traits. But like
Thank
you
you
can't
for your
have
patronage.
everything is the thing. So it is moderated a little bit. So you get the character you want, and it can be optimized, but your strengths and weaknesses are determined based on your rolls at the beginning. At least this was like 6 months ago that I did this, so I've only ever made the one character. And that was 6 months ago. But yeah, it is fun. I enjoy it. It's a good way to socialize with your peers and to just kind of like tell a story together. Thank you the next 6 minutes for the donation. Before I forget, thank you Weebo and Polly for cluing me into the House of the Dragon. I really enjoyed the first season. Well, I'm glad you enjoyed this first season. I enjoyed it as well, especially the last episode.
Well,
What a scene. What a scene. It was really good. Actually, no, if you get a chance to, Polly, definitely check it out. I think you'll enjoy it.
really?
Yeah, because it was really well done.
Thank you, Polly and Weebo. And it's like, well, it wasn't me. Although I have heard you should absolutely go for this. So Weebo, I'm sending you a link, and it's one of the really long ones. These are about the coolest fucking dice I have ever seen in my life. I was like, oh my god, I need these in my life, and I have no purpose for them whatsoever. But yeah, there's the super long
Oh my
link.
god.
Sorry about that. But
Jeepers creepers.
Eve, being the generous soul that she is, fired an order of those and another set of cyberpunk-looking light-up ones to Kefki. Oh, Kefki was so excited to have them, and I'm like, oh my god, that was so nice of you to just send those in.
Hang on.
You send those to her, rather.
Let me take a open image in new tab because my Amazon has a tendency to show my information.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Alright.
That's why it's good to have Epic. Look at those dice, y'all. Properly weighted LED glow-in-the-dark dice that have their own box that they go into for charging. They are so fucking cool. I'm like, that's a thing.
Oh, yeah. Oh, absolutely.
And they come in a number of different colors, like with the black background and then like red and blue lighting and whatnot. They come in a bunch of, to me, this kind of lantern glowy color is by far the coolest setup.
That is pretty cool. I like the ones that look like steampunk dice. Here, let me find a picture of them. D&D dice. Do-do-do-do. So, like, these. These are pretty cool.
Yeah. And the hollow dice that Reaper, like, turned me on to, that they're 3D printed, so they're, like, hollow on the inside and then 3D printed up with designs that are sort of in the background behind the numbers. There's no way you would ever be able to cast them that way. You would have to 3D print them that way. Holy shit, I had no idea that those were even a thing. Fuck, they look cool.
Oh, yeah.
Is it properly weighted? Is that a code for loaded?
Loaded.
No, I mean, just it's they're more like display items that aren't ever meant to be used in dice because they have LEDs on the inside of them and batteries and whatnot that they're weighted in such a way that they roll properly still, if that makes sense.
These are trippy.
Yeah, look at that shit. That is so cool. Send me a link for that. Holy fuck.
Okay. If I send you a link for this, are you gonna start playing D&D with everybody? Like, is this what it's gonna take?
At any rate, that is what we're going to try to do.
I was gonna say, is Valine here? Oh, Valine is here. Valine said for the 350. I need the link to the lantern dice. I know. I will fire you a link to the lantern dice. They are fucking so cool. Valine, they are so awesome.
So there's the pink
I wish I had a
bead
need for like a D20 and whatnot.
and a hollow bead. You could just have a set of die.
I could.
And just frivolously get things because you're obsessed with materialism.
I mean, for $30, they come with the box and the 7-piece LED set of dice. I mean, come on, Valine. You know you need those in your life.
70 freaking bucks.
It was so cool too, because when
It's going on my Christmas wish list.
I loved it because Kefki turns on her camera and she's like, "Look what Evie sent me," and she's in the dark and she's holding up the dice, so like the 20-sided die is like lighting up her face, and I'm like,
Aww.
"Holy shit! I need those even more." Holy fuck, those are cool. Because the light off them is brighter than I thought it was going to be.
Yeah.
Like I said, until she turned on her camera, I mean, you don't know in real life what they look like, if the Amazon ad is overstating it, or that they've photoshopped the picture to make the light seem different or to be of a different shade or whatever. But like I said, when Kefki turned on her camera, it was like, wow, that is fucking awesome.
Ooh.
I still haven't wrapped my head around wireless charging. Like, I get it on an engineering level how it works, but I haven't accepted it yet that it's a thing. I don't know.
I was talking. Okay, so when I went in for my robot training,
Weebo had this weird excited thing that just happened.
Sorry. So you're like, oh, I don't get wireless
At any rate,
charging.
that is what we're going to try to do.
Hang on. I think the former prime minister, he needs your attention.
Valine, thank you for the 350. The only D20 dice in my house are whiskey stones, and I have no use for them other than that they look cool. Bless your heart. You have no use for whiskey stones. Nor should anybody have use for whiskey stones. Yeah, I get the idea that they look cool in their dice, and I've seen whiskey stones that are like little Death Stars. And it's like, yeah, that's cool and so on, but like, I drink all my shit neat. I have no use whatsoever for them other than to have them because they look cool. I hear you.
So.
Holy shit, Snoopy, you're right. So many things I've never thought about before somebody pointed it out to me at cocktail hour. I have something that's wirelessly charging. My fucking my electric toothbrush. The fucking thing, it sits down in its little fucking stand, and it never occurred to me, yeah, there's no exposed leads, there's no metal contact points. That fucking thing's wirelessly charging. And I never even clued into it till right now. Because I don't spend a lot of time concentrated on how my toothbrush works. I never thought about that. Holy shit. I do have something that wirelessly charges. What do you know?
Okay. All right. So.
Uh-huh.
So. When I went in for robot training for work, we had some downtime, and while we were like chilling, we got on the subject, me and the instructor and my robot partner, we got on the subject of wireless electricity. So the idea is basically, eventually we'll get to a point with electricity where you don't have to like lay oodles and oodles of cable throughout the entirety of the house. All you'll have to have is like some sort of central point that emits Bluetooth waves that powers the rest of everything in the household.
Okay.
At any rate, that is what we're going to try to do.
Every time that gets me. Every fucking time.
That's a great one.
This is words to live by.
Valine, thank you for the 350. No! We used the whiskey stones. They went to the Glenfiddich I bottled. I meant I have no use for the actual dice. Oh. Well, I have no use for whiskey stones, nor should you. As for the no use for actual dice. Yeah. Okay, well, maybe we should both be character creating, doing character gen, and like submitting to the group. One of your fellow veterans is a huge D&D nerd. Maybe you should go along with it. I would be curious to see what Valine would come up with for her character. Would she go like lowball boring like I would? Because that's what I think. It's like, guys, you don't want to see the character I would create.
You
It
don't
wouldn't
even
be.
know what you could create, though. Have you ever looked at character sheets for D&D?
I have, but having
Yeah.
like knowing something about the fantasy realm just in terms of aesthetics. That's all I'm referring to here.
Right. Right.
Calm down. Just and having read a bunch of Forgotten Realms back in the day, yeah, I know who I would want to be, the hooded cloaked thief. I
Oh, you
yeah,
you'd be a rogue.
I'd be a rogue.
You'd be
Yeah,
rogue.
that sounds about right. I would basically be recreating Cyric's character before he became Lord of the Dead, before he became God of the Dead, before he became Cyric the Damned, or Cyric the Mad, rather.
Yeah.
From the Avatar trilogy. That's basically the character. I'm like, yeah, that's exactly who I would want to be in that world. That guy. Because he's awesome. And honestly, he just ended up sounding like, to me, when I was reading it at that time, it was like, so this is the Shadow. That's what you're telling me. This is the Shadow in this fantasy realm of Faerun, the name of the world.
Okay, so
Because he's got, he was continually described as the crooked nose thief, the big nose thief, et cetera, et cetera. I'm like, right, the Shadow, yeah, and he wears like a hooded cloak and jumps out of nowhere and whatnot, and yeah, that's him.
okay, so just to give you an idea of how complicated a character can be.
Okay.
This is my character sheet for my
Holy shit.
character in my campaign with El Boyfriendo and company. So it's very
That's something
involved.
already.
Yeah. So up here at the top we have the actual name of the character. She's a female and she's a half elf druid, level 2. Let's see. She has 15 current hit points and a max of 15, a walking speed of 30. Da, 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 all this lovely stuff. My armor class is light armor or medium armor and shields. Weapons that I happen to be proficient in: clubs, daggers, darts, javelins, maces, quarterstaffs, da 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 da. Tools, herbalism kit, just like a whole bunch of stuff. I happen to have an extreme proficiency in a lot of languages, just by nature of the fact that those were some of the things that I picked when I was creating my character. Was I wanted to have the ability to communicate across all of the different races. So I can speak Common, Draconian, or Draconic, Druidic, Elvish, Orc, Sylvan, etc. Because I'm a half elf. I'm also a druid. And then I think I have a few other extra little things that I have. Then there's features and backgrounds and alignments and, all of the other characteristics that you could possibly want. Personality traits, ideals and aspirations, bonds, flaws. Just like, it's more involved than I want to be a hooded guy who does sneaky stuff all the time. It's
Okay, that was a wonderful impression of me. Thank you.
You're welcome.
That's great.
Payback for pre-show shenanigans. But there's a lot more to it than that, is what I'm saying. It's
No,
a lot more complicated, and
I believe you. I just don't understand why you assumed I'd be derpy about the whole thing.
I'm not. Okay, if my impression of you is derpy, it's just because that's my my male voice. It's not you. It's all men.
Oh. Well, I feel better now.
Yeah, but like there's so much. There's so much of things and stuff. You can pick your spells if you happen to be a magic type. And I just so happen to have all of these lovely things that do all these lovely things. Anyway, yeah, it's more complicated than that. It's fun. If you ever wanted to, I could walk you through D&D Beyond character sheets so you can, like, get an idea of it if you had an inclination. I'd be
What my
happy.
wonderful options are, and so forth.
Yeah. 'Cause creating a character
Daniel
was a lot of
Fullman
fun.
asked a while back, what was your D&D's character class and name? Yeah, what was your character's name?
Oh, my character's class and name is Nimue. She is
Nimrod, what?
Nimue.
Okay, all right, Nimrod, okay. And what class?
Half elf druid.
Oh, that's why somebody asked, how can you be a half-elf? You're so short.
Haha. I specifically picked half elf because I think in the feats and traits, or maybe it's description, they can be 6 foot. So I'm a 6 foot half elf.
Really?
Yeah.
Little wishful character generation. Got it. That's
Absolutely.
fine. A little bit of a power fantasy. It's fine.
Nimrod was my first thought. No, Nimue, as in... Does no one know anything about Arthurian legend?
No, who was Nimue and Arthur?
Nimue is the Lady of the Lake. Or Vivian.
Let's see.
It's
Blaine,
her-
thank you for the $16. Greatly appreciated. Very generous. And I still have my Noir Bar donations on from last night. Whoops. I should have cocktail hour specific donations. Why don't I? Weebo, why haven't you pestered me about this?
Hey, Polly, you should have cocktail hour specific donations.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that it was that big of a deal.
Well, no,
Sorry.
this show's kind of a big deal. I don't know if you knew that.
Is it?
It is to me. I guess it doesn't matter to you.
It's a conversation between friends. We're just, happening to get paid.
I hear you. It's not important.
I'm not here for the
conversation
muns. I'm
friends.
here for you, Polly.
Uh-huh. Valine, thank you for the $16. So what are you saying? Is that we need to sit down with that nerd veteran in Discord? Fine. When you do, when do you want to know how I think of myself? Until you have until 11/23 when the new WoW expansion opens. Oh, Jesus. So November 23rd, apparently, there's a new WoW expansion that's coming out, and
Yeah.
Valine is still holding on to 15 years ago when World of Warcraft was a thing.
It still
'Cause she's-
is, isn't it?
Yeah, she plays WoW Vanilla along with the other people that are mentally arrested from 15 years ago.
So you're saying that I shouldn't get into WoW with El Boyfriendo like we want to?
Not unless you want to adopt his mental arrest.
He doesn't play WoW either. It was an idea we had. We were like, oh,
I'm just joking, of course. I have no idea one way or the other how the hell WoW works. For all I know, I might like it.
you might.
But if
Judgy.
we're gonna do this character creation thing
Yeah.
and bring Baleen along with it, I only have up until the 23rd of November when the new WoW expansion opens. At which point, I'm assuming we're gonna lose contact with her for a while when she goes deep into gaming with the new expansion pack.
We should go WoW.
You know,
Okay.
one thing I only noticed right now,
Hmm.
Punisher is. I don't know if Punisher's still here, but I haven't seen Punisher in chat in a while. Hey man, how's it going? I have a
Punisher.
spinner
Hi,
ring that
Punisher.
goes from 1 to 24, which can be used for any D&D dice roll.
Yeah.
I missed that he said that in chat. Punisher is an extremely generous soul. We were using the FTP server that he generously allows us to still use years later, and that's how you were able to send your stuff.
Yeah.
Weebo, the stuff you sent us for our super secret project the other night, it went by way of Punisher's computer, by way over to me. So all the way down to Aussie land, all the way back to the East Coast.
Yeah.
So
You know what
thank you,
else I use the
Punisher. It
FTP
is still
server for?
sincerely appreciated.
You know what else I've used the FTP server for is I sent you all of the Twilight audio recordings for another secret project that never got completed, Polly.
Well, all we got to do is watch it over again.
No!
And I.
We spent a week watching it. You, myself, and Far. You have all the recordings and the reference tracks. Why must we watch it
That's true.
again?
Well, honestly, it's because Far insists. I don't want to do it.
Oh, Far
but
insists? Did she tell
yeah,
you this? She hasn't said
yeah,
anything to me about it.
yeah, yeah. I wouldn't want to say anything publicly about it either if I was saying such a thing. But yeah, when we did did it even occur to us to record while we were watching the Revenant trilogy or whatever the hell it was called?
No. Are you talking about Divergent?
Divergent, yeah.
No, we didn't
But
record it.
is that what it's called, the Divergent trilogy?
Yeah.
But the second one was Divergent Resurgent? What
No,
was it called?
Divergent, Allegiant, Resurgent. And then
Divergent, Allegiant,
I think
Resurgent.
they
Okay.
canceled it after the third movie.
Right. And it was supposed to be like another movie and then a TV show.
It was supposed to be another movie, and then they're like, no, we're going to downgrade it to a TV show. And then that never happened. Hi.
I find it so strange that the first one was the best one, like in terms of my personal enjoyment and whatnot, compared to the first two.
But
It
we
could have been
had the most interesting discussion after the third one, though. At least I thought.
Yeah. But see, even Punisher agrees. First movie was good, and then they continuously went downhill. And then there's the thing that Weebo, I think you have to agree with. Once she had cut her hair off and kind of looked like a little bit of a lesbian, it downgraded the quality. Okay, I mean,
I agree. Her luscious, thick locks going away were a serious depressing thing. But like I explained why that was to you. She was in between movies, and the movie that she did in between those movies was The Fault in Our Stars, wherein
Right.
she's a cancer patient, or she plays a cancer patient. So the hair gotta go. Which, by the way, The Fault in Our Stars, fantastic.
really?
Yeah.
But didn't you say like when we were if we had actually recorded it when we deep dived that trilogy, didn't you look it up during it? And in the book, she actually cuts her hair too.
She does, but she cuts it to third movie length. In the second movie, it's way too short for what it was supposed to be in the books. She grows it out for the third movie, which is where it's supposed to be. Which is... It's not supposed to... Like, so the movies aren't supposed to happen months apart. They're supposed to happen one after the fucking other. So to go from really, really short hair to really... Ow! Cat! I love you. But you gotta go. Oh, she just clawed at my thigh.
Oh.
God damn it. Sorry.
Hold on.
So for her to go from that short of hair length to that long of hair length, even it's not that that long, but it's like long enough that it shouldn't have happened in the span of the time period in the movie. So like 2
Right.
days. Kind of jarring. Now you can get away with it between movies, sure, but I'm gonna notice because I'm a stickler for that sort of thing.
Trimble asks, what team is Polly on? Team Edward.
Even with the airbrushed 8-pack?
The airbrush what?
The airbrushed 8-pack?
Oh my God! Right? Yeah. See, he's a super powerful vampire. He doesn't need to have an 8-pack. That was just for the fucking 13-year-old girls.
Yeah. Yeah, it was. It absolutely was.
Yeah.
Now, why are you Team Edward? I forgot.
Because I can... Look at you sitting there listening. Okay, it's like, I want to hear this. Okay, because I personally don't buy... Like, Jacob, she's leading you on.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's so obvious. Like, at least as presented in the movies. I can't, like, now, Weebo and Far have read the books because they're weirdos. So I can only comment on the movies, right?
Mm-hmm.
But, it was for boxed wine moms. Yeah.
It really was. Let's be honest there.
The airbrushed 8-pack was totally for the boxed wine moms. And what's more than that is Jacob's buffness and his constant shirtlessness. That was for the wine moms as well in a big fucking way. let's face it, the age inappropriate attraction was not between Edward and Bella. It was between the wine moms and Jacob. Like, let's just say it. Because
Because he's supposed to be 15 in the movie.
I buy into the theory that when you are turned into a vampire, you are arrested at that age
Yeah.
mentally, because whenever a child is turned, they remain a child and
Yeah.
they remain acting as a child. So it's like, okay, yeah, you can say that you've been 17 for 120 years, but really you're a 120-year-old. No, he was arrested mentally and emotionally at 17 years old. So he's actually attracted to another 17-year-old girl.
Okay, I
If
like
you know-
that explanation for that, and I think that that does mitigate the weirdness of the 100-year-old age gap difference thing that freaks
Yeah.
everyone else out.
So he's a 17-year-old with just over a century's worth of experience, but he's still got the mentality and actions and emotional reactions of a 17-year-old.
He's still a baby.
Yeah.
Which explains why Bella was freaking out about getting so much older than Edward in that way.
It does. Is that I'm going to be an old woman and I have nightmares about it, and Edward's still going to be the same age, and it's
What? You spilled your... How do you... They were in a box.
I took one of the bags out. I used a little too much force opening it. And then the bag exploded.
My boyfriend just exploded a bag of Cheez-Its in the kitchen right now.
exploded a bag of cheese.
You cleaned it up?
No, I just left it there. Stupid.
Just checking.
You didn't want to interfere with your work.
I appreciate that. I thought that you weren't hungry.
I wasn't when I said I wasn't.
I offered to make you food.
And I wasn't hungry.
What?
So I
Okay.
made food myself in the form of a Cheez-It.
Did you have an apple?
Yeah, earlier today.
No. Did you have an apple before you ate a Cheez-It?
No. If I
What?
had one apple for every Cheez-It I ate, there'd be a lot of apples.
What's the insistence on the apple?
Well, because we have a whole thing of apples just sitting there, and if he doesn't eat them sooner rather than later, they'll go bad unless I make something out of them. But if he insists on eating junk food before he eats the healthy food, that's bad. Because the
Gotcha.
Cheez-Its will last forever. The apples will go bad.
I just made another batch of apple butter. I can send you my recipe. It's delicious,
Yes, send me a recipe. I want the apple butter.
and it's preserved. I still have some from last year.
Good night, love. I love you. I'll be in soon. He said, don't lie to me.
Oh. So Punisher's argument for Team Edward is actually a good one. You have to admire the discipline and dedication of a guy who can force himself to enjoy watching Bella sleep, given that she has no thoughts as far as he knows, even when she's awake.
No, she has thoughts. He just can't read them.
We're assuming that she has thoughts. She's got a pretty dazed look on her face, we have to admit.
Well, we know that she has thoughts because all of the books are written in first-person perspective, so we get an insight into what's going on in her head at all times. So
Not that it's very deep, but yes. you're
it's
right.
not very deep, but we know that she has some thoughts. Yes, she's a passive actor in her own life, but she has thoughts. Except for book 2. Book 2, she's kind of like off the rails, but not in a good way.
Well, New Moon is a very frustrating movie for me.
Yeah.
Because if anything is supposed to make you Team Jacob, it's New Moon.
Yeah.
Because that's the time when they meet, because Edward is fucked off and so forth, and stays fucked off for most of the movie. So it's a frustrating movie, but it's also got Michael Sheen as Arrow, and he's by far the best thing about the entire fucking series. It's in my opinion. I love
Him
me some
and
Michael
Charlie.
Sheen. Yeah. Well, Mustache Dad is the hero of the story.
I could
Like,
watch an entire, like, spin-off of just Arrow v Charlie, or just, like, them teaming up. Like, just, I want both of them as characters somewhere.
somehow Arrow becomes beholden to Sheriff Swan, Mustache Dad,
Yeah.
and has to like listen to him as like Mustache Dad is attempt to. Look, you can't just go around sucking people's blood, Arrow. Why not?
Why not? I've been around the block a couple of times. I know how to do the thing.
And I don't care if I've been alive for 400 years, Arrow. What's right is right and what's wrong is wrong, and your hundreds of years have just allowed you to be convinced that what's wrong is right, and that ain't right.
Right. Thoughts on vampire baseball? Ooh.
If you were to hit a ball so hard that it would sound like a lightning strike, you would unravel the ball.
Yeah, I feel like the ball would explode and the bat would break.
Yeah,
One of the two, or both.
People have done it, hit balls and caused them to unravel in flight. It's absolutely happened a whole number of times. And so if you were able to crack a baseball hard enough that you can only play baseball while the lightning is on. And that's even makes sense. But you guys lighten up with your fucking swings. You're able to pick up coffee mugs without shattering them. You're able to touch Bella without cracking her spine. I mean, not during sex, of course, but... Well, they make that clear, right?
He loses control in the throes of passion.
Yes.
Which is interesting, because apparently all the other mothers that ever had sex with vampires never had an issue with their male lovers' control. I mean, because, like, it's proven in the 5th movie, 4th book, that, like... the woman folk person, she's perfectly fine up until the kid is born and then she dies. Or no, wait. No, she doesn't die. She gets bitten by the male son because the males are the only ones that are venomous. When you have a vampire human offspring.
Oh, really?
Question mark. Yes. So the real damage done to the mom is more so in the pregnancy than it is in the actual act of coitus. I mean, yes, there's bruising, but that's about it. He doesn't actually throw out her back. He breaks everything else around her, but not her. It's the kid that does all of the damage.
My favorite character is Alice, or as I called her, Sexy Alice. Because he Punisher imagines that she's actually the villain of the whole story, and everything that happens, good and bad, is because she manipulated everybody into those situations.
Alice?
Yeah, because of her emotional control.
Ooh. Or no, because she can tell the future?
No, wait a minute. Because she can tell the future. It's a southern guy that has the mood control.
Yes, he's got the mood control. And then, Edward is the one that can read minds. Right.
Alice, being able to see the future, is able to manipulate people via the choices that she knows that they're going to make, that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm. But it's not like she can just force herself to see the future. It just kind of comes at her.
Can she tell the future because she's precognitive, or because she manipulates it all into happening?
I think she's precognitive. I want to say.
Yeah.
And if you read the anthology of character backgrounds, that the companion novel, you get the background on Alice's character, and I'm pretty sure that she was precognitive before. Well, okay, so the theory is that all the vampires with special powers had those gifts to some degree as humans, but they were very much muted before they were vampires. So when they became vampires, the gift was amplified. So Alice is precognitive before she's a vampire, and it's to such a degree that I think she's institutionalized in an asylum. And I can't remember the rest of her story, but I know she was institutionalized because of her crazy visions that she was having at the time. And so obviously that comes with a lot of other shenanigans, which is why she's a little bit more quirky than the rest of her brothers and sisters. It's not so much the fact that she is personality-wise quirky by default. Shit happened to her when she was institutionalized that make her a little bit quirkier than everyone else. So what that means is, like, in the books, she comes off different. Very much so. I mean, they all do, but her to greater degrees. Like the Oracle from the Matriarch, what really burns is, would it all have happened the same way if she'd never said anything? I don't know, maybe. That is an interesting question to contemplate whenever we're dealing with precogs in any form of media, is what theory of time are we working with? Are we working with a theory of time where everything flows linearly? Like, everything, no matter what you do, will lead to this outcome, and there's nothing you can do to stop it. It's just you're getting flashes of what is to come, regardless of what you do. Or are we working with pool theory, which essentially is just everything that you do, or the butterfly, if you know it, if you know what the path was to get there. Pool theory is like everything exists at the same time, so you can affect it, so then it affects everything further down the line. River theory is linear.
Yeah.
And those are my names. I came up with those. No one else did. Yeah, the stream is buffering. That means that the internet connection is being shitty again. So El Boyfriendo did not actually fix my router. Our router. I think we need to get a new router at some point.
Really?
Yeah.
What do you do to fix it? Just
He
wipe the firmware and start over again?
I don't know exactly what he did, but he said he reset it. I don't know if that meant just turning it off and on again, or if that meant clearing the cache, or what specifically he did. It didn't really improve it a whole lot over this weekend. So
I'd like to think he did something more involved than just turning it on and off. I'd really like to.
I would hope that he did. I know he reset it. There was some element of effort involved in that. But I did not question. I just asked him to fix it. I gave him that task, and that is his task. And so hopefully, at some point, we will have a new router that is much improved. Because apparently our current router is shit. Like, it's old. Old hardware. I'm sorry, guys. There's not a whole lot that I can do about that. I'm sorry.
I'm a pool theory guy, to use your lexicon.
Yeah.
Sure. It's whenever anybody, the way that I see it, regardless of the way that the movie tells it, because if you employ free will into your theory of like what you see into the future, it's based upon what the person has decided now. But if you give them new information, they might make a different decision.
Right.
And they can always make decisions that are different by your inability to see past. You would have to be able to see everything all at one time, and you can't. Like, everything is in a pool and changing, and that people have different thoughts. So it's like, if everything remains on the path that it's on right now, this is the way it's going to turn out, but not necessarily. And it's like, no, not necessarily, because somebody could change their mind. I'm going to have to keep watching. And that's it. That was an interesting thought about Alice's precognitive abilities, is that she can focus on one person's thoughts, watch somebody to see if they're going to make a decision, but can't watch everything all the time. And it's like, no, how could you?
Right.
That's ridiculous. You're suggesting that somebody is God then.
Right. All seeing, all knowing.
Yeah.
That's a lot of bandwidth, and you are limited. Like, even as a vampire, you're limited.
Yeah. So it's like she can watch certain things and things playing out as they do right now, but they could always make a different decision, or somebody could make a different decision and interact with that person, thus causing that other person to make a different decision. And I know the future, so going in and manipulating things, because I know that what you're going to do, I could sit here and pester you to not be so this way, or turn you into a heroin addict, or whatever the fuck, whereby you wouldn't end up making that decision, so things aren't going to turn out that way. Yeah. That's my call.
Personally, I'm a big fan of pool theory, just regardless of... in terms of the universe, I don't know that we've established that pool theory is the way to go. Oh, actually, no, we have. You're right. Now that I'm thinking about it, the future does change specifically in the 5th movie, we see that the future changes. Because she gives him the vision, Arrow, the vision of what would happen if he made the decision that he was intending to make.
Right.
And it does not turn out well for him.
Because right up until the moment that she showed him that, he had the decision to have the fight, and this is how it's going to turn out.
Right.
And then after she gives him that information, he changes his mind. So it doesn't turn out that way.
Right. So, yeah, okay. Pool theory confirmed. So, in terms of real life, I think I'm a bigger fan of pool theory. Just in general. Like, if we had the ability to see in the future. And make decisions based off of what we could see. And change the outcome of our future as a result.
I don't even think that you need to think of it in terms of precognition or seeing the future or time travel at all, just in terms of free will.
Right.
This is, in my mind, inherently what's wrong with determinism.
Right.
Material determinism.
I agree, 100%. I can't.
People that argue for material determinism, it's like, really, do you actually accept that? With a priori access to your own thoughts, you don't think that you're currently making decisions? It's like, oh, but I was predestined to have these a priori thoughts. I'm like, whatever. That,
like, that's a sad state of existence to be in. To think that you have not the free will to exercise to make your own decisions. Just, yeah, which is why the river theory, just, fuck that.
yeah.
Totally on board with the pool theory in terms of everyday reality. 100%.
You want to wrap her up now?
Yes, but first, I just want to address Daniel Fullman's comment about, it's too bad I do not have a programming degree regarding the internet issues. Network connectivity has nothing to do with programming, sir, and I resent the implication that just because I know how to code, I can do everything techie related. That's not how that works. Ah! And I hate that association, okay? Because my dad makes the same mistake. He's like, so you know how to program, you know technology. Do you know how to set up my mesh network? No, Dad, I don't. I've no fucking clue. I've never seen this technology in my life. Let's look at some YouTube videos together. Learn about this thing together. Anyway, sorry. Little side tangent aside. Polly, do you have anything that you want to shill to the audience before we close it out?
I have to say no. There's AAA this week, tomorrow over on Drunken Unc's channel. And then on Wednesday, the greatest show of the week over on my channel, www.youtube.com/polydub, whatever. Type in the YouTube thing and it'll take you there.
Yeah.
I'm pretty easy to find. And it's at 5:30 p.m. Eastern, 5:30 a.m. on Christmas Island. It's a great time. And then over on Sinatra's channel on Friday, again, same time, 5:30 p.m. The AAA stream, yay! And we did, and if you're bored and want to listen to me and Sam ADHD ramble for 4 hours, you can go watch last night's Noir Bar, which is over on my channel, as I'm increasingly caffeinated and inebriated.
That's what I'm doing tomorrow while I'm working.
Is it?
Yeah. It's what I'll have in the background while I'm coding.
Look, we covered all of the things. I spun yarns about Tupac Shakur's life.
Oh, wow.
The night he shot two undercover or off-duty police officers in New Orleans, in Louisiana.
Oh, wow.
And had all of the charges dropped. How the hell did you get away with that? Well, tune in and listen, Weebo.
Okay, I'm interested.
We talked about weird Lay's chips flavors from around the world. We talked about Warhammer 40K for a hot minute. Holy shit.
Not bad.
We cover some pretty, not quite as erratic as we are here, but pretty erratic. I mean, think about it. Today, what did we talk about? We talked about dice.
Yeah.
We talked about
guns.
Guns. We talked about Twilight. We talked about time travel theory.
Mm-hmm.
What else?
Literally everything, I think.
Yeah.
A
baseball hats.
Right. Baseball hats. Men's fashion. No, we didn't. We didn't talk about men's fashion. We just talked about hats.
D&D.
D&D. Music.
Gamer Valine says she's sending you her new router.
Oh, thanks. I'll see if it works with what we got. I don't know how cross-compatible things are. El Boyfriendo handles all the network stuff. I do not.
She has tasked him. I would feel so insulted if my girlfriend talked about me that way. That I've been tasked.
We have.
I'm attempting to utilize your time, and it's like, no, listen, manager. I already have to deal with people like you at work.
As
I don't
the
care if
head
you've
of this
got
household.
pimples, you don't get to. Yeah, exactly.
Everyone's got an assignment. Listen, I handle inventory. He handles network. It's good.
Yeah. Wow.
That's how it works.
All right.
Anyway, was there anything else you wanted to show?
Nope.
Okay.
Well, you have you have our secret project to look forward to, but that's
a wise out.
yeah, because of Weebo's schedule. We could have just deep dived the whole thing, but now we gotta do a piecemeal, bit at a time. For fuck's sake.
I think actually I like this because it gives us an opportunity to digest between each episode and come up with new theories and things to talk about. You know,
And you get to sit there in distress after the end of the last one. It's
my reaction was
priceless.
Was it? Is that the word that you would
it
use?
was that you immediately turned on me? Yes, Polly! Polly!
I was immediately livid with Polly for that. Mainly, I don't want to spoil it, but I break down why I was mad at Polly.
Yes, she does. In detail, actually.
Yes! But it was fun. I enjoy doing it this way, personally. Because if it was just all in one go, I feel like the conversation would be less rich.
Probably.
I'd suffer burnout before we'd finish off all 8 episodes.
Oh fuck! It's a hell of a ride. Yeah, you would. There's something to be said for binging, but binging like we did with the Beatrice trilogy there.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's not exactly high thought, incredibly dense content, if you know what I mean.
Right.
That's the kind of stuff to binge.
I think I have a cat hair in my nose. Oh my god, this is annoying. That is the stuff to binge. Indeed. Okay, so you're done shilling. I have but one thing to shill, and that is the Halloween special came out 13 days ago. So if you haven't gone and checked it out, please do so at your leisure, because it is, I must say, some of my best work. And I quite enjoyed it. Coming up here shortly, I have a piece that I'm working on that discusses race bending in media. And it's kind of attempting to tackle both sides of the argument. So that will be the next video that I post that's more of like a rant/discussion piece. In terms of other content that I have in the pipeline, I have the review from Morbius written, but I'm holding off on producing it into an actual video because I had the brilliant idea of not just writing a review, but also fixing the fucking movie itself. So it's going to be a 2-part video. The first half is going to be a review. The second half is going to be me rewriting the whole movie to work better, to be better. And if it works out, and you guys like that kind of content where I just rehabilitate a movie, then we might see more of those in the future. Because I do like doing the reviews.
Yeah.
And I am finding it's fun to also take another writer's shoddy work and rehab it, for lack of a better term. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to it. And on that note, Polly, are we doing the cocktail hour next week? To your knowledge, unless
as far as I know, we are.
Okay, same time, same place.
Yeah.
Today is the 13th. Next week is the 20th. Oh, I have the opera, but that's a matinee, so hopefully I'll be back before. Yeah, I'll be back before 7. Assuming everything goes well. Okay. So, assuming that everything goes well, because like I said, I have the opera with Nana. I'm going to the opera with my grandmother. This is very important. Because it's Nana.
Sure.
We love Nana.
Mm-hmm.
Assuming I get back in enough time, yeah, we'll have cocktail hour. But if we don't, and for whatever reason, like, the train doesn't pull into this station on time, whatever, then I will let you know that I will have to either be late or we'll have to cancel it, depending on what happens. So tentative cocktail hour next week, Sunday, the 20th, with Polydub and myself at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. Yes?
Yes.
Okay, cool. And then, other than that, I got nothing else.
Oh, well, there we go.
How do I end the show again? What do I usually say?
Same otter, same face, etc. That kind of thing.
See you guys next week. Same time, same place, same otter, same face. Wow, I'm dead. Until next time.
I'm dead inside.
I'm dead inside. Have a great rest of your week, everybody, and we'll see you then.
Have a
Later.
good night, all.
How do I end this thing?